has the cousins too. We had to pick up the cousins today, so he is very outnumbered.
Gotcha.
Right now.
So he's got to put on his stern pastor voice.
Yes.
Yeah. What's it like being the pastor's wife?
I really love being a pastor's wife. I was a pastor's girlfriend, and so I got to experience honestly what it would be before I could fully commit to it. And I think that's
same pastor.
Yes,
Same pastor. Okay.
same pastor. And I think I was like, you were a pastor's girlfriend too?
No.
Yeah. So it was cool. Like it was like trying it out. And
look, there's a movie called The Pastor's Wife.
The Pastor's Wife.
It could be about you.
I know nothing about that movie. Does she look sad?
You're talking about how great it is. Does she look sad?
She looks sad in that one.
Sure.
So ever since I've known him.
I'm sure it has its struggles.
It does. Like Sunday morning is difficult. Sunday morning is where being a pastor's wife, I want to like rethink my life choices because getting the kids to church and then I like to be committed and helpful and volunteer for things and getting the kids out the door is just difficult. But then I think I'm also able to really relate to the people that do struggle on Sunday mornings to get out the door. The moms that are like, it just wasn't an easy morning. And I'm like, tell me all about it. Like we can swap, war stories, but yeah.
Yeah.
Gosh, I love it. I love people. I love like seeing them come full circle and seeing healing and restoration. Like the longer I've been in it, it's just like there really is nothing I'd rather my husband do for a living. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
So given you're a listener of the podcast, how do you feel about the introductions and whatnot that we do? Or are they clunky? I sometimes feel like they're clunky. Like why don't you introduce yourself for the podcast?
Oh.
Yeah.
You've been doing that less and less, but I guess that's because everyone's kind of...
Well, the people who've been on before,
yeah, they're getting repeated.
Yeah. But I want to scratch them all together. Like
maybe at the very end, if I feel like they don't know my name and they don't know enough about me, I'll like...
It's in the title. It's in the description.
Yeah.
Like
so perfect.
It's there.
Right.
Yeah. You can get that mic a little. Pull up.
Yeah. Here we go. Does it need to come up? We're good?
You can go up a little bit.
How do you go up?
Just lift it.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
There you go. You can turn it.
Well, but thank you for actually having me on the podcast.
Of course.
That is really cool.
Yeah.
Thanks, Ben.
Yeah, welcome.
Yeah.
Welcome. How's your day going, Ben?
It's going good. A lot better than yesterday. We had a little bit of a technical snafu that had us shut down for 4 hours yesterday, so still trying to play a little bit of catch up, but we're doing all right.
So work-related snafu?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, your shirt, it just looks like you're vibing today.
I'm always vibing.
Yeah, you're vibing.
Riding those vibes.
Oh, yeah, he's got the Hawaiian on.
Vibing through it.
You know, I used to wear Hawaiian. In my youth, I wore a lot of Hawaiian shirts.
Did you really?
It was my thing, like from probably 15 to 20, something like that. Like I'd find them at thrift stores.
The button-down Hawaiian?
Yeah, like button-down.
Did you do like
Hawaiian.
The full Hawaiian, like puka shells?
Oh, no, I never wore shorts or sandals.
Sandals,
it was just a Hawaiian shirt and jeans.
Okay. So now I feel like you're more dressed like, what do they call it? Like stage crew, like darker shirts, like you're looming in like the shadows and the...
I am on camera, so
yeah,
you don't want to be reflective.
Okay.
Camera never wears white.
Okay.
Yeah.
You should have told me this before I came on the podcast.
Well, no.
Like
you're in front of the camera. When you're in front of the camera, that's fine.
Oh.
When you're crew behind the camera, you don't want to be caught in a reflection or something.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I see.
So
I see.
that PA wearing white in the background, he's not coming back tomorrow.
Who was the PA?
No, I'm just saying. Yeah, we have PAs. The production
PA.
assistant.
The production.
Like when you're on
break
set,
it down for us, Amos.
production
We're not
assistant.
all podcasters. We need to know what PA means.
That's a film terminology.
Oh, film.
Production assistant.
Okay.
They're the lowly ones that run around and help everyone, but always be nice to the PAs because someday your PA may be your producer.
Yeah.
Yeah. They come up through the ranks.
Are you a producer?
Aside from the
podcast.
Define producer, Amos.
Depends in what capacity. A producer is the person who makes a production happen.
Okay.
Yeah, and the director is the person who applies their artistic side to make it look good.
Okay.
Yeah, and an assistant director controls everything behind the camera. All right, last auction.
You do that, and I've got something for you guys.
And then we'll officially start this podcast.
Oh,
is
if we
terribly-
haven't officially started,
This
I
is
won't give it to you yet.
horribly unprofessional, what I'm doing right now.
Well, to fill dead air, I've got something for y'all.
Ooh.
It's my favorite cigar.
Oh,
Shout
thank
out
you.
to Nacogdoches Cigar Company.
Awesome. Thank you.
Nice. Should
Yeah.
we go ask Laura if we can smoke these in here?
Oh my gosh, that'd be amazing. But no, I do not expect her to break her lease agreement. But they're Stillwell aromatics.
All right.
So I love Stillwell. And then Stillwell has, I guess they're like blends or varieties. I'm not a cigar connoisseur, but it's aromatic and it's my fave.
It's your
And
fave.
she smells so good.
Gosh,
Gosh,
how
you
long
can't
have you
really
been smoking cigars / tobacco? So you're no cigarettes, just you're just
This is
the
it.
proper stuff. Like,
Yeah. Cigars.
Sorry to anyone who smokes cigarettes, but it's a terrible habit,
The proper.
and you already know that.
Yeah.
Well, you just eliminated so many of our fans right now.
So many, all the Baptists.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about the roll your owns, huh?
Right.
Well, that's fine. So my wife's grandmother, she smoked her own rolls for years, and she lived to 84, 86,
That's amazing.
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Then she also hiked across Australia while doing it.
Is she rolling
in her 50s?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, she's like, she had I guess a midlife crisis in her 50s and was like, I'm gonna go hike across Australia.
To hike across Australia.
Hitchhike, I guess.
Hitchhike.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I was gonna say that's a level of commitment.
It is.
Is she rolling cigarettes or is she rolling cigars?
She's like hand rolling cigarettes.
Cigarettes.
Yeah. So she was smoking cigarettes, but
Okay.
there's so many chemicals.
Yeah, Australia's huge.
It is.
Do you know why she chose Australia?
I don't know. She's from
Yeah.
South Africa, so
Okay.
I guess neighborliness.
Mm-hmm.
It's a big place. I saw a thing. There's a geography short, but it was Indonesia is longer than the United States. Like if you go from like LA to New York, Indonesia is wider. So that big cluster of islands there,
That's insane.
yeah, that's a lot of space.
That really is because it kind of I can feel like if you zoomed out, it would start to look little
Yeah.
tiny, but I guess not.
Well, and then on a Mercator projection, which is the common map that we see,
Yep.
you know how Greenland looks so big.
Yes.
But it's actually way smaller than it should be, than it looks on the map.
I'm gonna need them
So
to
the closer you are to the equator, the smaller you look. So Africa is gigantic
Mm-hmm.
compared to what it actually looks like. And if you look at if you pull out and look over at Africa versus Greenland, Greenland looks massive. It looks like it's half the size of Africa.
Right.
Um,
This is the type of stuff you learn as a homeschooler.
Right.
I'm just gonna go
Yeah.
ahead and throw that out there. I mean,
yeah, look how big Greenland is. Look
this
how big
is
it
very
But
ignorant.
it's super tiny.
Right.
And Africa is massive.
Yeah. It's crazy. Look at Greenland. Wow.
Yeah, but that big horn up there is like it's incredibly stretched. So the closer you are to the equator on a Mercator projection map, the smaller you are. The further you are from the equator, the bigger you are in perspective.
That's so
in
Australia.
order to, because they're taking a ball.
Mhm.
Sorry, flat earthers. They're taking a ball
Mhm.
and they're bringing it over a flat surface.
Yep.
So something's got to give somewhere.
Yeah. We got to wrap it around.
Yeah. So Canada looks way bigger. Russia looks way bigger. And I mean, those are big countries. Like Canada is the second largest country by landmass in the world.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'll take your word for it.
And Russia's the largest.
I'm so thankful that Ben pulled up a map as we were having this conversation too, because like geography, I wasn't fretting about coming on the podcast, but then I was like, you know what? There are a couple of things that if we get into,
We're going to test your geography.
yes, like
Yeah.
where places
Can you name
are.
every country?
My God,
I can't name every country.
I remember
I bet
growing
you're better
up.
than a public schooler though. 1,000%.
Thank you.
I remember growing up and just being fascinated with the globe and could just sit there for hours and hours just looking at a map.
Well, we had only globes in the house, and now I'm kind of wishing maybe if we had like a flat map up if maybe the dimensions would have been a little bit more clear.
Yeah, we had a shower curtain that had a map on it,
Mm.
so like you were exposed to it constantly. You're like, there they
My
are.
kids take long showers, so maybe I should do that
Yeah.
because they're in there for like 45 minutes.
Really?
Yes. Like
Why is that?
they love it. They'll come in the mornings at like 6 a.m. Their alarm goes off. They'll come in and like the first thing they ask is like, can I take a shower? I think it just wakes them up, and that's how Terrell is. He's like a morning shower person. And I guess I'll share my habits too. I'm a shower every like couple days person. It doesn't wake me up. I like cold showers. I do not.
Cold showers.
I don't want to be in there for very long.
Oh.
Yeah, it's like I'm an efficient person.
So do you like a cold plunge too then?
I don't know. I've not done. I mean, I love cold spaces and cold things. I've gotten into really cold like bodies of water, but I think I would enjoy having a cold plunge like at our house, like a trough or something that we keep. I would definitely do it. I remember whenever I was going through a lot of like anxiety, they were like your vagal or vagus nerve.
Vagus nerve, yeah.
It like cold water splash to the face on your
Calms it.
hands. Yes, like you've got to start getting like you're in fight or flight, and you need to like become more centered and
Got to get into the parasympathetic nervous system.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so I would like do a little workout in the morning and then just jump into a cold shower and love it. And I think, I don't know this to be true, but I think when your parasympathetic nervous system is screwed up, you kind of crave what you need. And like something about the cold shower, it was like, I can get through this workout because I know I'm going to get in a cold shower, and I'm so excited about that part of it. So
excited about cold showers.
Excited about it. Yeah.
Yeah. You don't meet many of those. They
I was
say
real
it's good
screwed
for
up.
you. They
I was
say
real screwed up.
you were real screwed up.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you want to talk about that?
Yeah, we can. I cannot figure out the exact root of it, but it was somewhere around the time after I had Paxton. We sold our house, our favorite property. We were on 7 acres, had chickens, like fruit trees. It was just a great life. We never thought we would sell that house, but we were busting out of it after we had already finished an addition on it. And so moved into the lake with Terrell's parents, Nene and Padre. And Paxton was like 6 months or so. So somewhere in that time, I started just feeling really isolated because that's 30 minutes from town. And my hair started falling out in like massive chunks. And I was just like, what's happening to me? I wasn't like tied to beauty or anything, but I was truly like, this is concerning.
Yeah.
And
how old are you?
I'm
sorry, you're not supposed to ask a
35.
woman that
I'm
age.
35.
I'm sorry.
And this was like 32.
You don't look a day over 30.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. And so just I had 4 spots. That was weird too on my head that were just completely bald, but like the size of quarters. So really weird. This was during COVID too. So like, wanting to go on play dates, that's really not an option. Like friends believing in COVID, not believing in COVID, like just the isolation really wore on me.
Yeah. What was the church situation then too? Because
So
I know you guys were at McMichael's.
We went from McMichael, but
which was
very
a
quickly
school
it got
gym.
shut down.
So the whole church was in a school gym.
Exactly.
That you set up on Sundays, tore down on Sundays.
Tear down. And it was thriving and booming. And then they told us they could not renew our contract because they could not bring janitors to come in and clean after we were there on Sunday to prep for school on Monday. So got kicked out of there. Praise God, Nac Bible. They saved us. They let us use, we had night church at Nac Bible. And for like social distancing purposes, we had 2 services, like a 5 and a 7 o'clock. So even just like choosing which service to go to, because half your friends go to one service, half your like church family goes to the other service. It was just like, you're not seeing everybody, feeling really disconnected. And church is supposed to be a place where, you walk in the doors and you're just like, I feel safe here. I feel like I can share my, my problems with people. I feel like I can go to the prayer team, all of that. It just felt really, I don't know. That is when I got really close to your mom, because your mom
goes to college.
So spicy. She would see people in masks and she would like rip them off their faces and just give you like a kiss. And I'm like, I will.
On top of that, she's kind of a close talker. Like she
What?
gets close talker. She
Oh,
gets
yeah.
close.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
she does the bubble.
Yes.
Like she gets in the bubble.
Yes. I love it.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. And I don't know if you know this, but like we're brother and sister now because she's adopted me as her granddaughter or has her daughter as her daughter. Yeah.
Well, welcome to the family.
Yes. And I
Glad to have you.
appreciate it. And I want to be Miss Judy when I'm older, and I want to like give all of the babies kisses when they walk through the door and just like full mouth kisses like she does. Like just embrace me, because this is what heaven's gonna be like. Just like a fat kiss on your lips because I love you and you're like my brother or sister in Christ. I haven't done it, but in my mind I'm like, I'm not gonna care. And
it does say to greet each other with a kiss.
It does.
Yeah.
It does.
Even the men.
Yes.
I think it was talking to the men.
And men in like different countries do greet each other with kisses. Yeah. Like just one, I think. But yeah.
They'll do like the 2 kisses on the cheek where they do this.
But I think they even do mouth kisses like in Israel or maybe it's like India. Here we go again. Gosh. But okay, so we're in Nac Bible, hair's falling out. We finally get our house built. So we move out of Nini and Padres. COVID's kind of like not becoming as much of a thing anymore. My kids get to go back into school. I lost probably 30 pounds and just became like real emaciated. And I would drive to work and I would just be like, you're really consuming, like you're really internalizing everything, and all of your thoughts are inward whenever you're going through a lot of anxiety. So it's me thoughts constantly. Me. You're so self-absorbed.
Yeah.
Yes.
Egocentric
to the max. And so I was like, I hate this place. I can't be in this place anymore. Like, what's a step? Like just one thing I can implement. And it got so weird that my gag reflex was like coming up a lot. So I would have to get my dinner and go eat in a calming atmosphere, like eating at the dinner table with our kids. And like, there's like 3 and like newborn and they're crawling on the table. Like there's no table manners whatsoever. And so it's just very like rigid, sit down. Okay, get your forks are falling, cups are spilling. So I would go and take my dinner and eat in peace and have to take such small bites because and they said that was vagal nerve issues as well, like your gag reflex. So the working out was like, okay, that's a step I can take. The cold plunges was a step I could take. And like little by little, just really like worked myself out of that season with the Lord. And
so what do you think triggered that? Was it like the isolation from COVID, or was it?
I think that had a huge part to play in it because my world as I knew it completely changed. Friendships that I had that were just lifer friendships, like just besties, were scared and were turned inward and, would say like, my husband's works like a corporate job. We can't have you over. Like, we can't be exposed. Like, he's got to go to work, or like, your kids have been like in school all day and who knows the germs. So just, I wish I would have known like you and Sarah at that time. I wish I would have taken Judy's word for it, because she really was just such a comforting light through that time.
Were you concerned about COVID as far as catching it and like it's going to kill you? Like, I mean, the media was going. Yes, the media was going crazy.
Yes, I was. Okay. And then so many people getting vaccinated and just struggling with that too. Like if I don't get vaccinated, am I a horrible person? If I get vaccinated and I'm already a ball of anxiety and I'm thinking about this like mRNA blazing through my, cells and stuff, like what's that going to do? And will I be able to sleep at night knowing I took it? And so
all kinds of guilt.
Yes. Yes. So, and then every time I would see your mom, she'd be like, don't care. Like, don't worry about it. Like, we're going to be fine. And
she was the most anti.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I had an abundance of caution when it first happened. I'm like, okay, I went and stocked up on gas and some food, and I'm like, I will admit there were a couple
Toilet
times
paper.
I left the groceries outside for 24 hours to make sure I didn't wash them. I wasn't washing groceries. Like I'll see memes every now and then from the dark times when like the people with like they're
Yeah.
washing their apples and their cans of Coke with Dawn soap in the sink.
It's a Coke.
Yeah.
And that's comical.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But for the first month or so, like which my wife was very like, no big deal.
Yeah.
It's
And I
like,
think it was hard to find those people.
yeah. And we're not saying that people didn't die. We're not saying there weren't issues. Although there's a lot of things going on there. But
Yeah. And I think that's why you could take it as truth and scary, because you are hearing stories simultaneously of like, so and so is put on the vent, or so and so is like on day 7 and they're having horrible, side effects.
the whole family gets taken out.
Yeah.
Like right at the beginning there.
Mm-hmm.
They all had comorbidities, but
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but like back to the original question, as far as the anxiety, do you think that was initially triggered by the COVID situation, or was that something like pre-existing that was just kind of there and then got exacerbated?
That's the thing. I never had a lot of anxiety prior.
Gotcha.
And so I don't know if it was like my 4th kid broke me, and then simultaneously there's like an outbreak, and it just felt like it was like a perfect storm.
4th kids can break you. There's that phrase that like 1 is none, 2 is 10. And then after that, they kind of blend together.
Yeah.
But I'm not so sure about that because we're on our 5th.
Right.
And it's like, it is a lot of extra work. And there was also a dynamic shift when we waited 5 years between number 4 and number 5.
Yes.
And so it's like we're fully out of the baby stage.
Yeah, you have no one in diapers, and
then
you just
hop straight back into the baby stage.
Mm-hmm.
And what's really nice about him is like it's kind of like having an only child because he's super happy.
Yep.
No colicky, nothing like that. He's just always, the only time he's fussy is when he's going down for a nap or when he wakes up from a nap and he's like, come hold me. Other than that, he's like, you've seen him. He's always cracking.
He doesn't want to be separated.
That's how he is at home too.
Yeah.
Like, and it doesn't matter who's holding him. Like he's just happy.
Titus makes me want to have another baby. I'm like, oh my gosh. Yeah. I'm like, he is just so sweet. And I think, well, I guess I've always been a little broken as a mom. I'm just like, bring it on. What is like no sleep? What is, breastfeeding? And like, I don't know. If a kid needed me in the middle of the night, I was up. Like, I was like, maybe I could have been like a doctor or something.
I don't like the most important thing in the world.
Yeah.
Is having children.
Yes.
Like, otherwise the race doesn't go on.
Yes.
So, like,
yes.
I mean, something I always quote is what the first command God ever gave to man was?
I do. Be fruitful and multiply.
Yeah, exactly.
Fill the earth and subdue it. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So go have kids.
Yep. So
and I mean, it's definitely an issue in society right now where one, kids are really expensive. And I think
they are.
Well, I think they're expensive if you do everything exactly the way the world tells you to do them. It gets really expensive.
And if you're on social media, I think there is more of that comparison.
Well, like say if you're going on vacation, which you mean,
yes,
it gets expensive to take 6 people on vacation.
Yes.
Yes.
We find some ways to like make having multiple kids cheap. Like we were so thankful that my cousins have 2 boys and a girl just like we do, and they gave us all of their clothes. They would ship to us just boxes of clothes. And so we were not, fabulous with going out and buying wardrobes for each new kid. And then Paxton, and then now we kind of share that. So like as Paxton's growing out of clothes, I'm like, who can we donate these clothes to? Now, of course, by Paxton, they've been in 3.
I should hop in and say we try not to say children's name on the podcast too much.
Oh, yes. Okay. By number 4, we the clothes are not very clean anymore. So
yeah. The hand-me-downs, they start to get
yes.
It's not your Sunday best.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah.
And we didn't really have many of those either. Like you've seen my kids on Sundays.
You've seen mine on Sunday
there's
too.
Not a Sunday best. Shout out Mosaic for just taking our kids as they are. But
we should have a business like dress day or like what am I saying? Everyone should dress in tuxedos. Not business, but like formal. We should have a formal day.
Where would we get
all
the
kids have to you have to find them. We'll give you some time to find them.
Yeah.
But all the kids need to be dressed up in tuxedos and
We could put them through like
Prom
interview
dresses.
processes. Just get them ready for the real world.
Mm. I think it would be good. Like
Yeah.
it's good to dress fine every now and then, and
It is.
like you know,
Right. I mean, I had to go to church in dresses and, clean tights, clean shoes.
mhm.
There was just that like expectation, but I was an only child. So I also think that there was
Mm.
monetarily, like my parents weren't struggling to be able to provide that for me.
Yeah.
I do want the kids to dress nicer on church days. So I'm a little more involved in their
Yeah.
outfits, but
Mm.
yeah.
How is that dynamic coming from a only child situation to having so many kids?
I think that's the reason. So I had a great childhood in the sense that like my parents just loved and allowed me to have friends over all the time. And so my parents are like, you were an only child, but you really weren't. Like you were always inviting people over. But I remember a lot of times if I got grounded or punished, I'm sitting there and I'm really feeling like the isolation and the like, shoot, I have no kid to bounce off like, mom and dad just did this. Like, could you believe it? And like,
You
there's no
couldn't
one in agreement.
you couldn't vent.
Right. I couldn't
Oh.
vent. Nobody wants to hear that. My parents didn't want to hear that.
But you're
But
very social.
yes. Yes.
Mm.
And we had tons of kids on our street growing up. And I lived, I think a lot of people have told me this too, that I don't seem like an only child. And I think that is because I was in sports my whole life. And
What does an only child seem like?
I think they can seem very inward and they can also seem very privileged, like got given things like a brand new car or had nice clothes or is what I'm told.
Mm.
And I saw
Well,
that to be true because I had some friends that were only children and I sometimes saw that
I
too.
think a lot of that does get set though at the early stages too, where when you're 2 and 3, there's not another sibling coming along and booting you out of the nest,
Yeah.
and so you like growing up in those very formative years, up to 7 years old, you're still kind of the center of your parents' world, unless they're really putting a focus on making sure you're not,
Mm-hmm.
because it's very natural to do that.
Yes.
Whereas when if by the time you're 7, you've got 3 siblings below you, yeah, I think oldest can be bullies a little bit because
Mhm.
they can,
I take offense to that statement.
But I mean, I don't know, yeah, you're the oldest, right?
I am.
Yeah. Were you a bully?
No.
Or were you like loving to
What
your-
would your siblings
and you
say?
had
We'll have to have some of my brothers on, and we can get down to the bottom of that.
was it
Yeah.
all brothers or was it
All younger brothers.
all younger
yeah.
brothers? So it was a brawl.
Three younger brothers.
Yeah. But did you find yourself like
Is your oldest a bully?
maybe a little bit, like he would take a little bit of privilege, privilege is the wrong word, but he would exploit the situation.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I was probably being a
oldest
jackass.
is a master manipulator.
I disagree.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, my oldest is a master manipulator.
See, my personal experience being third in line
Mm-hmm.
of 4, and then with my third, who's a boy as well,
Yep.
they're like the sneaky ones.
Yes,
they
I
watch-
completely agree.
They watch the other kids get in trouble,
Yes.
and like, ooh, I'm not going to get in trouble like that, but I have a solution to get around that.
Well, your middle child is just absolutely sneaky.
Oh yeah,
Like you can't find him
Yeah.
sneaky.
Yeah.
So I think he's on a different level.
Well, one time, Dustin, the guy who's in charge of kids, a few years back,
Yep.
he confiscated a pocket knife from my.
He's done that
third.
from our kids too.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And he's like, I just wanted to let you know,
Yes.
William, or what's his
Yeah.
name? My
We've
third
had-
child came with this,
Yep, we've had that.
and
where
I'm like,
the-
well, he wasn't hurting anyone, was he?
Right. Was it being pointed at anybody or was it like
No,
a show and
no,
tell
he's
situation?
he's in the corner
Exactly.
carving
exactly.
a stick with it because he's a loner too. Like he'll,
Right. Yeah.
even now, they're dealing with him. He's constantly escaping. Like he'll
Yes.
just leave.
Oh, I know.
and
I
flee.
know. Because he's been under my care, and I'm like, I am having to be accountable for you, and you are. But he finds mom. He finds mom every time.
Yeah.
So we know now. Like,
I'm not terribly worried about him because like he
No.
doesn't wander.
No.
He just wants to escape
yes,
and go find a corner.
Yes.
He's not going to be in the street
right.
yet.
Yes, except for that one time he did go back to the playground and was at the
Mm.
outside playground, which is kind of scary because the church backs up to that like refinery or whatever. So we
It's
were
a
worried that time.
milling shop.
Yeah.
Yeah, metal milling.
Yeah.
He could go in there. They could give him a job.
They really could.
Yeah, he's got that mindset to start
If
taking things
he's
apart.
going to the corner to whittle, I think he has a bright future.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the thing he always wants to watch is like Kurzgesagt videos, and so like
Yeah.
the science, the colorful animated science stuff.
No.
If you ever watch Kurzgesagt, they're a YouTube channel. They do these really elaborate animations that are really cute, explaining science stuff. So
Oh, wow.
he'll come over and talking about what's the most, what the most deadly virus in the world is? It's rabies.
I love that.
Or he'll be talking about black holes.
Oh my gosh, that's my oldest.
So we got him watching Veritasium and but he's big into anything Kurzgesagt. Kurzgesagt.
Kurt?
I don't know how to spell it. Kurzgesagt. It's all one word.
Is that a name?
I don't know where the name comes from.
Okay. That's wild.
Just type YouTube science behind that. Kurzgesagt YouTube science.
Wait, so we have to go back to this. Ben, do you think
Those guys
you're a master manipulator as the oldest?
Define manipulator.
Will alter circumstances to benefit them, and will seek to put themselves first, but make it out like it's the group that's benefiting.
No, you're giving firstborns way too much credit.
Really?
You're giving us way too much credit.
My oldest, I mean, we use the word manipulation. Like, manipulation is just a negative version of persuasion. Persuasion's a nice word.
Yeah. Okay, and they're so persuasive.
Yeah.
Just persuasive all day, like trying to...
I have to disagree because the oldest is always getting caught. Once again, back to Amos's example of the middle child learning from lessons from the oldest.
Yes.
I always was in trouble.
Yes.
I never could get away from anything.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Parents are definitely scrutinizing.
I can tell when he's lying. He has a tell. So he's not the sneakiest, but my middles are more sneaky.
What's the tell?
It's just
sorry, buddy, but we're gonna learn.
Kind of like smirking, like kind of like a smile, like he can't keep it in. That it's
Yep.
So our youngest, she can look straight into your face and lie with no problem. Our second to youngest now, because we're 5.
Yes.
Our 6-year-old, soon to be 6-year-old.
Yes.
She'll just like look at you and be like, I didn't do it.
Oh.
I don't know what's going on.
And she's pretty angelic, so.
Yeah, I know. No, she's the performer. If anyone's going to be an actress, it's going to be her. Go. Like she will put it on. And if you point a camera at her, she just starts performing.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, but no, I think the middle child syndrome like leads toward the manipulation and the lack of, maybe it depends on some people. Some people have lack of shame.
Well, and my middle child, up until recently, he's a charmer. So he like gets, he'll like crawl in. Huh?
Swarthy? Charming?
Like, yes. Like he gets in my girlfriend's laps and he's just like, you're so beautiful. I love you. Like as a kid, he was just charming and just sweet. And he has these big eyes. So he just can really like win a lot of people over. Won his teachers over. Right now we're having a little trouble with that. But yeah. Yeah,
Kurzgesagt, I think is how you. But yeah, these videos. So
this is
our third will be watching these things all the time. He's watched every single one of them, and then I'll go back and repeat them. But he's so big into chemistry and anything science. So I think that's the direction he'll head. Like normally,
smoking is awesome.
We're somewhat anti-college, but I think that it has its place if you're going to be a doctor or a chemist or an engineer.
I would say we're
have
similar.
to go through college, but just to go get a business degree because I don't know what I'm going to do.
No.
Figure out what you're going to do first before you spend.
Don't waste my money.
Before you go massively my money. Your student loan debts.
Yeah.
I mean, we might.
Did
pay
you go
for
to college?
I did not know.
You did not.
I think that's a hot take right there, Amos, and I have to agree with you. I'm not paying for my kids' college.
Yeah, I don't know what our plan is.
If this podcast blows up,
right?
Then we can pay for your kids' college and my kids' college. But you have to be doing it for the right reason. Like my philosophy. Okay, take buying a car for your kid. I don't think you should buy a car for your kid.
I don't think we'll be able to buy a car. for our
What
kid. We have 4 too.
but
You've
I
got
think-
5.
I think what I would do is I will buy the girls' cars because we're a little
Oh,
we're a little
sexist.
that way.
Now.
Sexist.
And I think, if we're financially able, I would pay for half of the boys' cars.
Would you expect the boys to work at 15?
Sure.
So how will they get to their jobs? Will you be taking them?
We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
I mean, if they find a job that's where they're,
Yeah.
my first job, I was kind of like, there were some things going on there. I don't think my parents would have approved.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Should
I
we
got
talk about
stapled
it?
in the foot once.
Stapled?
Yeah. So it was
So you're-
flooring. We were laying flooring. So it's construction.
Yep.
And I was working with older guys, and like, the one was a bully, like a big bully.
Yeah.
And I finally broke down and told my parents about it, and then they told the boss about it, and the boss like put them all in their place. But yeah, one time they were doing steps, and you staple steps in place when you're doing it on wood surfaces. And I was standing up on top there picking up scraps, and the guy this was a different guy. He just like reached up and just stapled me right in the foot with a crown stapler.
Oh my gosh.
It's like out of nowhere.
Is that like a tetanus shot situation?
Probably.
Yeah.
I didn't tell anyone about it, but it was a weird. He was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry." I'm like, "Yeah, you
How
should be."
much
It was
older
weird.
is this human than you?
30?
Years older than you?
No, 30. Like he's probably 30.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Looking back on it, I'm like, that was pretty terrible. Like if somebody did that to my kid, I'd probably beat the shit out of him.
Yeah.
But
right.
at the time, it was just like, that was weird. It didn't hurt that much. I pulled it out with a pair of pliers and kept working.
Yeah. I'm thinking, what age did you start working?
14.
14. Yeah. I started working at 15. And there was definitely some things I walked into that were not great situations. And I wouldn't trade the work experience though for that.
I mean, it certainly
But-
teaches you to grow up
Yes, it does.
at a certain point.
I would love it if my kids had jobs at 15, and I would maybe even be less salty about them taking my car out or purchasing. I don't know. I don't know
I'm-
where we would be monetarily, but
Yeah.
I don't imagine that with 4 kids we could buy a car for all of them.
Well,
But
what kind of car? Like, you're not buying a new car.
no.
No. And I mean, I will grant that 20 years ago's $2,000 car is now about $5,000.
Right.
Like a good running
Yep.
has another 100,000 miles in it. But like, there's
Yep.
nothing wrong with a 2005 or 2010 Camry.
Yep.
Nothing wrong with that.
No. And
Go-
then you pay for the gas and you pay for the
Yeah, you can go
insurance.
older than that though too.
Sure,
Mhm.
but yeah,
Mhm.
we are getting to the point where that's 15 years old. If you're going to 20 years old, they're starting to be hard to find them in really good condition. It's going to be easier to find something like 2010, 2012.
Mhm.
God, I can't believe that's a 13-year-old car right now.
I know.
But the reason I say,
know.
I'll pay, we'll consider paying for half of the boys' cars because then they have to earn it. So if they want a $10,000 car, they got to come up with $5,000, and then I'll fill in the rest.
You've thought this through.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Why?
But then they have to earn it.
Why just the boys?
Well, we could talk about the girls, but it's just one of those things where I don't know.
Is there
Maybe
going to
it's
be
the
an
soft side of me.
expectation that maybe
I don't-
the girls will work or not even work?
I don't. If they want a job, I would not prevent them from getting a job at all because I
Mhm.
think that's good work. That's good life experience
Yeah.
too. But I guess it's just one of those things where, yeah, it's a little sexist. I guess it's like that's not. I wouldn't just give it to them and like here be spoiled.
Well, maybe my history and experience, I don't know, it might not persuade you, but I loved that my dad was like, at 15, go out and find a job. He was a part of the like homeowners association. He's like, if you're still looking for a job, we could get you in as a lifeguard at the local pool, starting at 15. And it was like the best pay of all of the jobs I was looking into. Like I was looking into like working retail at a store or, bagging groceries or whatever. But lifeguarding, because you're CPR and first aid certified, it was up there. And so
Up there as far as pay rate, or what do you mean?
yes, as pay rate. And then after like a couple years, because maybe he was on the board, I got to be like manager, which is another extra couple dollars.
Couple
know,
dollars.
Yeah.
See,
Extra,
I grew up in
like 50 cents,
construction
75
where
cents.
like, by a certain age, you're like, you have your own business and you're like, at a certain point, Katie's like, why am I even working?
Yeah.
My wife's like, why would I even do this? Because she was doing landscaping,
Yep.
making like $20 an hour or something.
Right. It
Yeah.
feels really like, as an adult, being in kind of the working world with a college education, it feels weird. I'm part-time, and it feels weird to be making like not like a salary, but like an hourly rate. And it just is odd.
Mhm.
Yeah, like, but and that's why I can attest to, like, I have a college education. I'm not using it whatsoever for what I do now. And at like 35, I would have gone to school for something completely different, because now I'm looking at potentially, like, I don't know, do I want to go back to school, or I don't know if that's really worth it, but
What'd you go to college for?
I was a hospitality major.
What is that?
So
Hotelier.
Is that like a liberal arts kind of like, is that in that category of like
yes.
usefulness?
And so exactly.
Hospitality major.
Exactly.
I've never heard of that.
So it was with an emphasis in meeting and event planning.
Explains why you're so hospitable.
Exactly. I care. So I was going to do meeting and events. I wanted to work for a hotel and be their events coordinator. I wanted to be around weddings a lot. And
Wedding planner.
I did do that. I was a wedding planner for several years in NAC. And I loved it.
Why are weddings so expensive?
Oh gosh, I think they're just, girls dream about that kind of thing their whole life. I was not one of those girls, but and then I think you get a mom involved, and then you get a mom involved that maybe didn't have that wedding and then wants to provide that for her kid.
Maybe that's like me in the car, because I had to buy my first car from my dad.
There's probably,
and
some
I had to
trauma
pay
back in
him
that.
$400 for an $800 car. So he paid for half of it.
Okay.
It was a car he already had that my mom had been driving.
Mhm.
So it's like an 85 Volvo, which now it's pretty cool. But at the time, it's like, he pulled it out of a junkyard.
Yep.
And then charged me $400. Whatever. It's a good learning experience. So I did pay for half of my own car.
And I think I appreciated my car more when my friends were riding around in it and things like that, because I was paying gas and insurance and I took care of it. I washed it. Me and my dad just love cars though. So we would we would detail our cars. That's just kind of how we bonded growing up.
But back to the wedding planning.
Yes.
Mothers who didn't have the wedding.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know why weddings are so expensive. There's that part of my brain did not like relate to the women that love.
I know why they're so expensive, but why people are willing to spend that much on them.
Right.
Because like, if you're going to spend $35,000 on a wedding, like that's half of a down payment on a house.
And that's chump change for a wedding.
Okay.
But
you don't want to know how much our wedding cost.
I don't even know what our wedding costs, but
ours was about $3,500.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we had it in my in-laws' front yard.
That's the thing, is venue is very expensive. Yeah. Venue's expensive. If you're going to have any kind of like live band, food, I mean, you're talking like $35 to $55 to $75 a head for food, for like a nice steak, or
somebody made brisket. A friend made brisket.
Right.
So they paid, I believe they paid for the raw meat. And
weddings can be, being in kind of the wedding industry for the amount of time I was in the wedding industry for, it to me was just not worth it for brides to spend that when that money could have gone towards their future. I mean, every time. And so Terrell would be marrying these college students that were in our college ministry, and I would get to know them really well. And we were there.
You planning the wedding?
I was planning weddings.
So there's a racket. Like he was marrying him and you were...
he was marrying them, and then I was the wedding coordinator assigned to them from the church. And I would get to talking to them, and I would try to gently nudge them of like, this is just not, because moms would present their kids with that option a lot of times. Like, hey, we could give you this, $20,000 or $10,000 and do this nice wedding. Or this could be your down payment on a house. They would say that a lot of times. And the amount of girls that wanted the wedding. And
really,
it never.
What about the groom? Did they have any say in this?
The grooms, in my experience, could care less about the wedding. And the more they were involved in it, the more they just hated the whole leading up to the wedding.
But they were never like, no, we should do the down payment on the house.
I think they would, but they wouldn't
And I know
be
that's also,
convincing enough.
you know, like incredibly cruel to say, but like, man, it's one day. It's one day.
I am in complete agreement.
And I feel the same way about
The
engagement
florals,
rings.
the amount. Okay, so the amount of money spent on florals, sometimes $40,000 spent on florals
Ooh.
for a wedding, and then at the end of the wedding, they leave. Gifts are packed up. Parents leave. The whole bridal party leaves, and I'm shoving bouquets of florals in the trash can and taking them out to the dumpster because they're
No,
they're
what
for
you
like
do,
3 hours.
what you do is you find a charity to donate them to
Oh,
for
we
some kind of
would. We
event,
would.
and then you get the write-off.
Oh. Well, we would put them in the church for the next day. There was so many. There's so many things you can do until you just absolutely get so sick of looking at florals and
Yeah.
having to deal with the florals because they would pull away, and you're still left with all the florals. Or you'd get like the aunt, the mom, the cousins. You'd be shoving florals into everybody's car because nobody wants the money to go to waste.
Yeah.
I hated florals.
Yeah. That's not a tax advice. That's just, I believe you can in certain situations though.
Yeah.
That is crazy. But yeah, they're just all gonna rot.
Yes.
I feel the same way about engagement rings too. Like why you would go out and spend
Mm-hmm.
upwards of, I mean, what's the common engagement ring cost these days? I know you can get out of hand. You can spend
I think Terrell should
millions,
have
but
spent more money on my engagement ring.
oh, more
Seeing
money.
as I am not a jewelry person, but we didn't know
The
that
average is $5,500.
for an engagement ring.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love
But
that.
the thing is, the value is not there in the ring afterwards.
No.
When you pay retail for that ring,
No.
they'll give you
Yeah.
maybe $500 at a pawn shop for that.
Yeah.
And they'll turn around and sell it for,
Yeah.
you know.
He did some work though. He really looked into like the diamond. I mean, he's a researcher.
Yeah.
He kind of got into it. And I'm excited that he did because I didn't know a thing about it. And it was like, oh my gosh, this is the most fabulous ring. But knowing that I'm not a jewelry person.
What is your engagement ring? Let's see your engagement ring. It's right there.
And I only have an engagement
very
ring.
nice.
I don't have a wedding band or anything
How come?
like that. Because my setting has diamonds on the side and it would just butt up against diamonds.
Yeah.
And I'm like, let's show those babies off.
Yeah.
There's like
do that.
35
I mean, it
diamonds
one
in
ring
there.
covers it.
Exactly. And I'm not a jewelry person. So I think we can spend about 10K more on this ring, this sucker. Coming up on 15 years. So
yeah.
shout out. Just hope he listens to this.
I think that the quality of the metal is important so that it will last.
Yes.
That's very important.
What is Katie's engagement ring? Can we say her name?
Yeah, we can. Yeah, we can espouse.
What is her metal?
It's gold.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, mine's white gold. Yeah.
Yeah. She does not like gold, like yellow gold. So I like yellow gold. So I have a gold band.
Yeah. That's the exact band that we want to get for Terrell. We got kind of suckered into getting him the band that like is indestructible, and I think that was kind of a thing when we were like 15 years ago. It was
like the titanium band.
Yes, like titanium.
So
they're like if you
don't want a titanium band,
especially
especially in construction.
Well, right.
Because if that thing gets crushed, they cannot cut it off.
Okay, so then
they can, but it's really hard.
It's a kind that's not then titanium because they said you couldn't do that with this kind, but this kind of metal, you can cut this off. So his isn't maybe titanium. It's something tungsten. Is that right? And it's ugly, and it was $90. I don't know if I should say that on here, but we both were just not in love with it. But we got suckered from the.
I bought mine on eBay.
I mean, and now we're like, we just wish we would have done a gold band, but we are going to. He has his granddaddy's, and I have my grandmother's. We have enough rings that we're gonna go over.
Fuse them all, just go melt them down, and
yeah, I think we're gonna go to Reese Jewelers and get something done for him.
I've looked at like wedding bands at pawn shops and engagement rings at pawn shops, and you're like, but what's behind that? Like, why is that here?
Why is it here?
Why is it here? What does that mean?
Yes, and then you might have to like pray over that.
I don't tend to believe that like there's spirits and stuff and bad juju imbued into inanimate objects.
Well, you could definitely just hold your authority over that thing and like
you could,
just pray and release.
Yeah. Before you buy.
Yeah, I say buy Katie the ring. If we're going down that road of like you've seen it,
well, it's too late for that. I mean,
we'll buy her another one.
I do not buy jewelry for her without her present because
really?
I think there's.
How did the engagement ring go down?
Well, so we went and looked at a jewelry store to find the style that she liked.
Yeah.
And so she uses her hands a lot, so she didn't want anything that would catch. So what she
Yes.
liked was this
Yes.
ring that just had 3 diamonds deep set
Mhm.
down inside the gold band. So there's no stud sticking up.
Yes.
That's what she wanted.
Yeah.
So then I went and found something. It was a lot nicer than that one.
That matched that description.
That was similar to the one that she liked at the
Yes.
store. It
That
was
was
fun.
my
It was funny
exact.
ring shopping with her because, you know, the person we're looking for an engagement ring. So the clerk would like pull something out and she's like, no smaller, no smaller, no smaller.
Yeah.
And like they were like this thing that had the 3 diamonds across. They were so dinky and ugly and small. So I did find like the one I found was at a pawn shop.
Right.
And it was like way nicer.
Yes.
Way nicer.
Yes.
But I did pay pawn shop prices.
And did she love it?
Oh yeah.
So was she? What was the reason behind her saying go smaller?
She does not like large,
Flashy.
chunky.
Yeah.
She doesn't want her hand to catch when she's using the thing.
And that's kind of her personality.
Now she is having a problem right now where the wedding band and the engagement ring are they're rubbing too much together. So
Mhm.
she really needs to take them somewhere and get them fused.
Yes. Reese Jewelers.
Yeah.
Shout out Reese Jewelers downtown.
Jewelers.
Downtown. Nac.
But for the longest time, like she would not, like she would never take it off because
Mm-mm.
I believe her grandmother never took off her wedding band
Yeah.
after they got married. Like literally, like in order to clean her fingers, she would take it out to here and clean,
Yep.
and then push it back on.
Yep.
And then once eventually, like Katie got a rash or something that was right underneath there, and it wouldn't go away.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, just take them off. Just take them off for a week or two.
Yeah.
And then put them back on, and then she was fine after that. But yeah, she was definitely.
Do you ever
like,
take yours off?
Yeah, I've gone through periods where I haven't worn it, and then I'll go
Yeah.
back on. And
I think that might be a thing with women and a thing with men. Like Terrell's comes off more than mine comes off. And
it's been probably a couple years since I haven't worn it.
and
I know when I was
when I get pregnant.
when I was doing construction, I was wearing it less.
Yep.
Like if you ever see a guy who's missing his ring finger, it's because of his wedding ring.
I've never seen that.
I knew a guy. Yeah, you'll see guys they're missing that finger.
Yeah.
I knew a guy who he was jumping out of a tree stand while hunting, and it got caught, and it just took his finger off.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Ew.
Yeah.
Ew.
So that's why a lot of people they'll wear those rubber bands too. You can get the rubber
and
silicone
like if they're in the
ones.
fitness and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I've seen that. We say those a lot. I've even thought that would be convenient for like traveling.
Mhm.
I don't know if I always want to travel with like my ring. I don't know why if traveling something would happen differently than
Like you think it's gonna get stolen,
or like if I'm whitewater rafting or something like adventurous. I don't know why, but I'm always like, if I'm traveling, let me get a rubber band ring and travel with that.
A
A disposable ring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With a cubic zirconium diamond, like a rubber. That's what we should
No,
make. We should make
ew.
disposable
They have those.
engagement rings.
They have those on Amazon. Me and my girlfriend looked that up, that they're flashy and blingy now, but they're still like rubber
Oh,
or
so
whatever it is.
someone's cornered that market.
Yes.
Um,
Temu or but I said the
So-
same thing whenever we were picking out my ring. I was like, I do not want it to get caught on anything. I want it to be really, I think that's, I don't know. I've seen people get like annoyed by their wedding ring. And if it's something that you're wearing all the time, it needs to not be too big in my mind. I've got to like function in life and kids and
yeah.
I'm moving around and doing stuff.
Saying,
So.
like if it's weighing your hand down and you can't,
Yeah.
like you're like big old chunky.
Yeah. I wonder if celebrities that do have those massive rings, if that comes off at night
It must.
or if that's only for like going out and then like in the house and doing activities.
I don't know.
I don't either. That is something I will never know.
Diamonds are not very useful things.
Mm-mm.
Like they have industrial use.
Yep.
I mean, but we can say the same thing about gold and silver too. Like really it's a
Yes.
faith-based thing, but I think they're a little more
Mhm.
valuable than
Yeah.
but so yeah, the wedding planning. Did these weddings work out? Most of them?
Yes.
Some of them?
Mhm. Yeah. I mean, I already had to be there.
Do you find that maybe like the more that's spent on the wedding, the less that it works out? I don't know.
You know,
I'm speculating.
I didn't see any like of those trends or notice anything like that. And most of them, I mean, we're in Nacogdoches. Most of them were very humble. I mean, I'm
It's a
not in
lot lower
Dallas or
divorce rate.
Austin. Yes, and just a lot less monetarily being spent on that day. But you know, our venues and things here are not expensive and are not top dollar. And
Yeah.
but
Still, if you're spending $40,000 on flowers,
yes.
What is the national
world's
divorce rate right now?
are expensive.
What is that? Is it at 40%? Is it higher than
I
that?
don't know. Do you see it?
14.56 per 100,000
You got to do
married
that.
women.
Per 1,000.
Mhm.
That doesn't make sense.
Why
The
is it
divorce rate's higher than
Why
that.
is it married women?
Yeah, I
Are
know.
women the one filing the divorce more than men?
40 to 50%
Wow,
of
for
first
first
marriages.
marriages. That's true too.
First marriages? I thought it was a lot lower for first marriages. Because like if you've had 2 divorces, you're a lot more likely to have a third divorce.
True. Hmm.
Also, it's not one of those factors where like if that's your chances of getting divorced, it's like you kind of have a lot to do with whether you get divorced or not.
Oh yeah.
So men shouldn't be scared of marriage. I know there's an epidemic right now where men are
Mm-mm.
scared to get married, or not even scared, like not interested in marriage because there's no benefits
Yeah.
societally to it. And we've been so trained to be anti-children, and children are also,
Mhm.
as we talked about, expensive, that what's the use in getting married for a man?
I was a lot more aware of these like statistics and kind of in this world when Terrell was a college pastor. But I feel like I'm so removed now. Like I don't really know any teens that are just not willing to date or not willing to like pursue marriage. And I don't know if that's an East Texas bubble
I think there's the
that
Southerners
we live
are
in.
culturally we're a lot more like that's what you're aiming at.
Right.
You
Like I
know,
want a family. I want
yeah,
marriage. I want to settle down and be with one woman or a spouse for the rest of my life.
yeah.
But and when we were in the college ministry, I mean, we talked about dating a whole lot and we talked about healthy dating and we wanted it in front of everybody so much and
Mm.
kind of even had like an open home where come and like see how Terrell and I live life and we bring kids into the world and we have, like you can still very much do life, do work, do ministry, all that with kids running around and yeah, so
Hmm. What was college ministry like?
it was really fun. It was a really sweet time. We gosh, we had kids over. I remember I was working like a 9 to 5 job and there was a lot of times where the college students just don't know when to leave and I think that's the beautiful thing about them is they will just stay in someone's house until they're ready like
Mm.
not take a cue whatsoever and so I would leave to go to bed at like 10:30 because I'm a night owl so I would like 10:30 11.
10:30's night owl?
No, but I knew I had to be at work in the
Yeah.
morning like I can stay up pretty late like 1 2 but
Mm.
I would go to bed and then Terrell would come to bed and he's more of an early bird than I am, but he'd come to bed at like 11 and we would still hear them in the living room. I could sleep through anything, so it didn't bother me. And then they would let themselves out
Lock the
and
door on your way out?
yeah, lock the door on your way out. And I mean, it was just we would gosh, they would watch the kids while we were up at the hospital having the next baby. They just come over every week for family dinners. He had interns then, and that was a really sweet relationship because we got really close to the college kids, but even closer, like family to the interns that would rotate through. And you wanted to be an intern because you wanted, I think you just wanted that responsibility. I feel like it's kind of sad. I don't know what's shifted with college students, but I just don't see the college ministry being like that anymore. Um, like it seems like people are very much like in their dorm or just not on campus and
Like the
at
the
SFA.
interactive lifestyle that
Right.
college used to be?
Right. And I mean, I even had a car and would, because they say like if you don't have a car, there's a good chance that like you're going to be walking around on campus, meeting people, like you're going to be social, you're going to have to ask people for rides. Like the chance that you would integrate into college life would be a lot higher if you don't have a car because you're not coming back home on the weekends and all of that.
Mm.
But I had a car, but I had a job. And I wasn't going home and I was really integrated and going to and I can't say because I haven't been like on campus myself to see this, but when I talk to college students, it just seems like there's just not that college. I don't know, college just did so much for my
Hmm.
walk with the Lord and for my friendships and what we saw in the college ministry. There was just a lot of unity. I mean, you leave college and you have some of your best friendships. You can stay up late. You can, I don't know,
Don't have
just
parents anymore.
yeah, you don't
Nobody's telling you a bedtime.
exactly.
There's a curfew though, right?
Exactly.
Sometimes.
And
Depends
you're
on the college.
having to go into these socially potentially awkward situations often, but you have friends that you're doing that with and um so yeah, college ministry was a fun time.
Mm. We're gonna pause. I'm like, it just occurred to me, like, I didn't check focus on a couple cameras.
Oh gosh.
It's focused though. All right. Yeah, I didn't go to college, so I'm like,
Ben, did you
I
go to
worked through all
college?
that.
I went for 1 semester.
Okay.
Were
you on campus?
I was, yeah. I went to TSCC Waco for 1 semester for graphic design, and quickly found out that that was not for me.
Yeah.
A little bit later, I went ahead and went to like a trade school aspect and learned how to weld, and quickly just got into the workforce. So I guess me and Amos's take on college and that college life, whether it's still prevalent or not, I don't know. The only college life I ever really experienced or saw, I don't know. I don't even remember those fools' names. You know what I'm saying?
Aw.
Well,
I think too there was not as much online learning available back when I was going to school from
Yeah.
07 to 11. So like there was just so much value in going on campus to see your professor. Your professors were available. You had tutoring and just I don't
but
know.
I guess the question is like, where's the value? Because a lot of people put the
Mhm.
value in college in the social, like the 4 years of socializing
Yeah.
before you get out into the world.
Yeah.
And then we charge you lots of money for that.
Right.
So like, I have a hard time seeing the value if you're just going to go for a business degree and you don't know what you're doing.
Mhm.
Afterwards, like trade, and then trade school too is like
Mhm.
there's so many jobs. Like if you want a job, get in the trades, you'll find a
Yeah.
job. If you want to be a plumber, like you can make 6 figures easily in the trades.
Is there still something valuable now? I remember a lot of the reason why you go to college is because you just get a degree in something because that sets you apart in a job
Yeah,
interview.
so that part of the problem is a lot of corporate business uses colleges as a screening tool to
Yep.
see whether you'll stick with something
Right. You've
for a
completed.
period of time
Mhm.
and you'll complete it and you're somewhat intelligent.
Mhm.
So they've, rather than doing apprenticeships, which I'm way more in favor of, like I think it's better to, if you're going to intern, because I hear from so many people, like say if you go to college to be a CPA or something,
Mhm.
and then you go work for an accounting firm. Again, maybe accountants, people disagree with me, but when you get there, they're like, all right, we're going to teach you how to actually do this.
Mhm.
And just kind of forget everything you learned at school.
Yes.
Speaking like from a film perspective, like when you get someone on set who like, oh, I went to film school, this is my first set. It's like, oh, okay, now we're gonna have to teach you how this is
Oh,
really
great.
done.
Yeah.
Like you would have really been better off just finding a job as a PA, working for free,
Mhm.
and doing that for a year, and you would know how a
Yes.
film runs.
I am the type of person that theory doesn't work great for me. I do have to apprentice somebody, or I do have to know the job is to see the job and to do the job.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's most people, but
So I think what Amos, the 2 examples you gave, I want to combat that, right? Because you still have your super specialty careers, such as doctor, such as lawyer, such as
if
that.
you're operating on me, I hope you went to college.
yeah, if you're my CPA, I hope that you,
Yes.
you know,
I agree with like
you
those
earned
things.
those letters.
You do need to learn all those things. Same thing with engineering. If you're building the bridge that I'm driving over, I hope you went to college.
Yeah.
But to finish, sorry I interrupted you, Ben.
No, I think you can't really obtain those skills with apprenticeship, especially just coming right into it. So if you're not really focused on the big ones that you would need a degree for, then I think as a society we need to kind of sidestep and go back towards apprenticeship, like you were saying.
But if you put like say a company, say Ford Motor Company, if they're like, we're going to do apprenticeship for our engineers rather than would there be a benefit there? I don't know. Rather than having the
like
college, rather
scholarships
than having the
for
college like vet them or train them first. Probably because you'd be worried about those people leaving. Like, why train them if they're just going to leave you? Like, so in the military, my sister is a military surgeon and she owes them X amount of years. So they paid for all her school. So she's not going to have, I don't think she has student loan debts afterwards she gets out. But she owes the military after she graduates X amount of years as a military doctor.
Right.
So unless you can indenture someone like the U.S. military can, there probably wouldn't be a lot of value in doing those apprenticeship programs for like the higher skilled occupations like that. Whereas if you're going to be a plumber, like you work on the job, you learn on the job, and then eventually you quit in 5 years and go start your own business.
Yeah.
And then compete with the person that you were working for.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Anyway.
Yeah. I mean, I think obviously my degree being in hospitality, I did not, the benefits of college were more social and more, you completed 4 years.
Well, that also,
you can get
if you think about with a hospitality degree, like being socializing on campus is kind of the job experience. Like you're actually learning while you're interacting with everybody.
Yes. So, but I also, I mean, I think there's a lot of value in it, but as I'm like parsing out, was that social deposits? Was that like friendships? Was that like workforce? Am I making more now because I went to college? In some sense, I think yes.
What do you want your kids to do?
Gosh,
because that would be the ultimate like test is like, do I want this for my children?
I think it's going to depend on the kid, but we're not going to push them going to school for 4 years to get a degree to then potentially use that degree. No, if you find something you're into, apprentice it, go forth and conquer, get a job,
Yeah. That's how I feel too. Is like, if you want to go be an engineer, like I said, the third child, if he wants to be in some kind of like chemistry science type thing, you're going to need to go to college.
Yes.
For that.
Yes.
Whereas the oldest one, who's like, he's super social, he'll probably turn into a Twitch streamer or something. I don't know. But you don't need to go to college for that.
No.
But he'll be like, he needs to get into some kind of entrepreneurial.
He's persuasive.
Social.
Yeah.
Is he persuasive?
Yes, he is. You try saying no to him when he asks for sleepovers.
I do it all the time. Well, I don't. I say ask your mother.
See, you're just sidestepping.
I'm like, this is not my department.
You're run down by him. They'll wear you down. The firstborns will wear you down.
I just tell him I'm not the playdate department.
Yeah.
So like, you have to. I don't care if you leave my house and go stay at someone else's house. That's fine with me.
My answer will always be yes. Please go.
The house is quieter.
Yeah.
And also, if he has friends over, so if your oldest comes over, my house is quieter.
I am the same way. I tell Terrell all the time, I'm like, it is better for us to have their friends over. I'm typically always saying yes to sleepovers. There's a lot of times where he does need the house to be quiet because he needs to pull away and something's going on that,
He needs a shed that he can go hide in the back.
Yeah.
A prayer shed.
He does. Okay, we actually had a war room in our old house. We had in the back of our closet, we had this pocket door that could close, and we would get away and pray in a war room.
What's a war room?
That movie got really famous like 10-ish years ago, and that's why they called it the war room, because it's just a prayer closet.
Prayer closet.
Yep. But we would go and we'd have our quiet time. It was very helpful with kids. Gosh. Yeah, I think Terrell's mom paid for us. She loved that movie so much. She paid for us to have tickets to go and see it. And then, yeah. I think that's one of, oh my gosh, Cameron Bure. Burke, and then her brother. You know who I'm talking about, Ben? Candace
Cameron Burr.
Yeah, and then her
then,
brother. I think he's like one of the producers on that. You know, they like came out with all those. He came out with that one on like pornography and the marriage.
Fireproof?
Fireproof, yeah. Did he have anything to do with this one?
That could be. It was
Kirk Cameron. Maybe
Fireproof.
not, but they all kind of came out like back to back. We had like all these Christian movies.
There was a string of Christian movies there.
Hitting the box office and getting.
How do you feel about Christian cinema?
I tend not to. Nothing really gets me to the movie theaters these days. I like watching movies in my house.
Well, that's the I mean, like, I'm a big movie person. But
Yeah.
like, I think the last movie I saw in theaters was Josh Weigel's movie, which the church paid for, like, that showing.
Yes.
Because we just don't. When you have this many kids, it's really hard to get out and leave. Plus, if you take them with, again, children being expensive,
so expensive.
you're going to spend.
Right. And the popcorn and the this.
I've never bought concessions once in my life at a movie theater.
We put stuff in my purse.
Don't say that on camera.
I know.
Don't admit your crimes on camera.
I know. Did I just incriminate myself?
I don't think they can.
I think the movie theater shut down.
It did,
actually. So
because you weren't buying the concessions.
Ooh. Well, I also wasn't going.
It wasn't the greatest theater. It was not a good theater.
I don't know. So I'm not a great critic of that because nothing really pulls me into the movie theater, and I like series of things. So,
but
like
at home,
yes,
at
if
home,
you're gonna put something in front of me, a movie ends. A movie is heartbreaking to me because at the end of the 2 hours, I have emotionally invested into this thing and I'm obsessed. And then now, so like the Rings of Power, like the Lord of the Rings, and then the Rings of Power came out and I'm like, gosh, yes, keep going with this series. I love series of things.
But you don't like seeing like a complete ending, like going through that emotional arc and journey.
No, there's nothing about because then I'm like, what else? Give me more. What else happened?
You won't like my scripts because I write them to end.
Yeah.
Unless I'm writing a series.
Endings are sad. Any kind of ending is sad. If I love the character, that's sad. I'm not going to see your character anymore. If I hate the character.
But there's some ideas that are better conceptualized in a 2-hour period.
Yes. My husband would completely agree with you.
Yeah.
Like did you watch Gladiator 2?
I haven't.
I didn't watch Gladiator. Well, I fell asleep a couple of times when Terrell's tried to make me watch Gladiator 1. Yes. It wasn't compelling enough for me to stay awake.
Such a good movie.
Right. That's what I hear. But I liked Gladiator 2. That was the last movie I watched that was like...
Because it's like more fun and energy? More spectacle?
Probably.
Yeah. I like it. I haven't seen it yet, but I know there's a line where Denzel Washington's like, they're bringing the gladiators or the slaves through, checking them out. And he's like, all right, hose them down. Mm-hmm. And it's like, what is a hose to you in the year BC, wherever it is that you are? I don't know what year it was. 80 something.
Did they mess up on that?
What's a hose?
Yeah.
In that time period.
And what would the phrase have been?
Exactly.
Water them down?
Hose them down.
Like, yeah.
Aqueduct them down.
Yeah.
Hose them down.
Exactly.
Yeah. Scrub them down. It was good.
So what series are you into?
Well, I love Rings of Power.
You love Rings of Power. See, I maybe it's the circles I swing in, but I hear nothing but bad about Rings of Power.
See, and I hate that. I'm here to squash that right now. Put it to an end.
Squash it. Tell me.
Yes, because, gosh. Okay, so what is the first book that he wrote?
The Hobbit?
No, it's like to set up the story. The
Silmarillion?
Yes, the Silmarillion. So it is very close in following the Silmarillion.
Well, they're going for the Second Age era of Tolkien's work.
Yes.
So the Lord of the Rings is the Third Age, that's the end of the Third Age.
Right.
So you go back to the Second Age when Sauron's coming to be, and
yes.
Well, not quite coming to be, but don't let me mess up my Lord of the Rings lore, but
right.
There's a base out there that'll crush us.
Yes. Oh, yes. And I'm right. So I just really appreciated that they're going deeper into the story. That I felt like the casting was really strong. I really like all of the cast members and the worlds that they're creating. They're going deeper into and I'm not gonna have the right jargon for it, but like the tree elves and the what are the other ones? The warrior elves. I don't know. There's several elves.
Oh, yeah. Well, there's the wood elves.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And
Again,
then there's like the really rich bougie elves.
the bougie elves.
Right. And see, this is where I'm going to like anybody that's like, Lauren, you're debunking this.
The elite elves.
Yes, the elite elves. But
The
yeah,
1% elves. That's where we go.
Right. I really liked it. I really liked it. And I felt like it was really well done. I don't know. Ben, did you watch it?
Yeah, I've seen it.
Are you?
Well, let's first. Have you read this Silmarillion?
Okay, I've read half of the
Silmarillion.
Silmarillion. Yes.
Okay.
Could you follow it?
Oh, it's hard.
It's very hard.
Yeah, I have them on my bookshelf.
You think
for the past 20 years, and I've.
You think Chronicles is bad?
I do.
Yeah, you do.
I do.
I was comparing it to the Silmarillion.
I didn't grow up reading the Chronicles.
What other books in the Bible are bad? Tell me.
Are bad?
Yeah, you said the Chronicles was bad.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Chronicles of Narnia.
No.
We're talking about the
book
Bible?
of Chronicles. The books of. I said you think.
Yes.
Yeah, you think the Book of Chronicles.
Yes.
1 and 2 are bad.
Well, you give me a list and you tell me to read a list as like a story. That's hard.
Yeah.
I did want to talk to you about that though. We will need to talk about the Bible in a second.
Okay.
But we can.
So, yeah. So as a fan.
Mm-hmm.
As I get older, I just have to really just step back and not like over critique things, because there's so many other stories that they could be telling.
Yeah.
But at least they're in that same realm.
Right.
And I kind of take that hand in hand with the Marvel universe. You know, you may not like this one or you may not like the direction, but hey, if you're a fan, they're still making stuff for you. At least they're not ignoring the fan base altogether.
Yeah.
Because
I think they're ignoring the fan base in a lot of ways.
Well, it was hard growing up reading The Lord of the Rings, reading The Hobbit, and only having the cartoon. Right?
Oh, yeah, I don't know the cartoon.
You haven't seen the cartoon?
Mm-mm.
Oh, you should go watch the cartoon. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
Because it's
I've never heard that.
It was in the 70s. They made a
I think that
and they ended it at Two Tower.
Oh, really?
So they didn't.
Gosh.
Yeah, they didn't have. I don't know if they didn't have the budget. I looked up this a while ago, but they didn't have. They didn't do Return of the King, and then someone did a version of Return of the King later that kind of connected, but it wasn't actually the same production company.
Oh my gosh, 1977.
What's funny too with this is
go down a little bit more. More. Rhode Island artist. Okay, that stood out to me.
What's kind of funny too is the way they film. Well, I say filmed like it's a cartoon, but they actually filmed like reference footage in order to, and then they just stenciled it. So it was a cheaper way rather than straight animating.
Okay,
they'd film people and they would just stencil the frames.
Oh my gosh,
and draw it that way. So when you watch it, the animation looks weird because it's so naturalistic, human life. It looks like a filter that got put on top of footage, which it is.
Yep.
And there is one shot in the movie where the guy playing Aragorn tripped during the reference footage, and they just drew it in and kept it.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Okay, are animators a thing anymore? Like drawing?
Well, drawing, because almost every cartoon you see nowadays is still made in a computer.
Right.
So they're not hand drawn.
Right. When did they stop majority being hand drawn?
Well, I mean, the last Disney 2D movie was The Princess and the Frog.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that should have been hand drawn. I don't know if it was or not.
Because like, is AI taking over that whole animator?
But as far as AI is taking over things now, but
yeah,
as far as stopping actual hand drawn animation, like that happened in the 2000s somewhere.
See, I just think there's something beautiful
hand drawn.
about...
There's a lot of hand drawing there. No, it's an art form.
Yeah,
but it's just cheaper to do it in a computer,
right?
And now it's going to get cheaper to do it in AI once they perfect shot continuity. And because like right now AI, I can't, like, you can't have one frame of someone walking through a door and then coming out the other side as the same character, everything holding together. Like AI just isn't there yet. And then also it's difficult to give action direction in AI where like, walk up across the room and pick up this cup of coffee.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty difficult to do. It's getting better. Like I saw some stuff the other day where it's like, oh, you're actually doing a good job with that action.
Oh my gosh.
And the camera movements too, like getting like
Yeah.
parallax panning shots.
And this is like within
It's
a
happening
couple
fast.
years. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
What I think is more exciting is the AI overlay. I think
Skinning.
skinning that I showed you,
Yeah.
where you can shoot with just, probably just a cell phone camera, and then you overlay your characters on top of that.
I think that's actually where it's at, is where you can film without good lighting, without good cameras, without good lenses. All all you need is the performance.
Mm-hmm.
So you get a good performer in there, you get their voice, you get their movements, their facial expressions, and then you just put whatever skin you want on top of that. So you change the lighting, you change your focal length, you change all the artistry would be decided afterwards, giving prompts through an AI, but you can nail down the performance and keep.
So tell the
that you
story,
want.
and then later you can come back and like manipulate.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you can set them on Mars if you want to, and then at that point, it's like with the reason books are cheaper than scripts. Like you can write whatever you want in a book. Every page costs the same amount.
Mm-hmm.
So you can have your character on Mars, or you can have them on Earth, or you can have them on a sinking ship, or you can have them in a coffee shop. It all costs the same. It's just your imagination. But if you want to go film that, create that, then that's where things get costly. But with AI, you might be able to eliminate
We might be able to see
the whole
someone's
production swing, and which is that a good thing or a bad thing? I don't know.
Yeah.
Like is movies really good for us? I don't know. Is all this entertainment? I think we're saturated with entertainment in our society right now.
I think so. We could pull back a little bit.
Yeah. The constantly needing to be entertained, and little hits of dopamine, and then it's shortening the attention span too, with all the TikTok, Instagram reels, YouTube shorts. Like all of it is just, your attention span is nothing. Like I've really tried to dial back on watching any kind of short form, like ultra short form stuff. I know we do a lot of shorts for the podcast, but yeah.
Does watching more shorts shorten your attention span?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Because you're getting that constant hit of dopamine, and then you're moving on, and then you're not investing in the story. So like if you go to watch a TV series, like you're in the first episode, like the problem where I have starting a show, if I don't know, I generally don't watch a show until it's done. And I've heard reviews like, oh, this was like Breaking Bad was great. You should go watch Breaking Bad. So you go and watch the whole series. Hey, it had its moments. I was just using it as an example. But I have seen it. Don't do math.
Don't do math.
It was the moral of the story. Don't do math.
Yeah.
Don't build an empire.
Yeah, and I'm not
math
gonna do
and
math.
crime.
And so I was like, I don't know if I need to know about like this side of the world.
That's about the drama, though.
Right.
It's about the interaction.
But
It
you
wasn't
know,
about
you've met my husband. Like he cannot do drama, and he can't do drama at bedtime.
That's what he was saying.
Only
So
time we're about to watch a
he
show.
talked about Rings of Power last time he was on here.
So it's
Well, I know-
Frasier all the way. Yeah, I had so many
Frasier all
great
the way.
talking points about Rings of Power back when I was like actually watching them. But then as a mom of four, like all of that information that was really good is seeped out.
So he doesn't do horror then.
No,
Can't handle the
No,
drama.
and I don't like it either because horror goes sexual real fast. Like to just find horror for horror. That
What do you mean, like when you say sexual real fast? Like they have the exploitive sex scene?
Yeah, and then horror really easily backs up to like just very weird sex, like bondage. I don't know. Like there's just not.
Well, traditionally, like if you look at Friday the 13th type stuff, there's
or
always
like I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Yeah, but there's always like the sex scene, but in a way it's been
Oh, I don't remember. Yeah.
well, you'll have like the naughty teenagers, and they get killed first
Yes.
because they're promiscuous and
Yep.
sex is bad.
I do remember
That's what
that.
those were saying.
I remember.
Back in the
Yes,
day.
I remember that.
That was the message they were conveying.
Yes.
But you're talking about modern horror going.
Yeah, I'm not even really speaking off of much experience. I'm
I don't watch a
assuming
lot of
a
horror.
lot
I don't watch a lot
because
of horror,
it
so.
just doesn't even appeal to me. Like
I'll say I do watch a lot of YouTube essays on horror movies and get them that way because I want to know what the message was. But just actually watching the movie itself, I don't find.
Oh, I love that kind of stuff, like
enjoyable.
Clue, or we watched like the Glass Onion, Knives Out. We liked that series. We love like mystery, like we love Sherlock Holmes.
But there's drama there. There's suspense.
Yes, we like suspense.
Hmm.
Horror cannot invite in my home.
But not.
But also our kids have never had trouble sleeping and have never had like nightmares that we know of. And I just wonder, I
Interesting.
literally just had that thought, like, do we keep that out? And it's not a form of entertainment that we have. I don't know. My kids sleep great. I love it. Praise God.
Our 2 older ones sleep good when they get to sleep. Our second to last, she's having some trouble. You know, she's like, she'll wake you up at night, like, wake up, I'm awake. Yeah.
Are you awake?
Are you awake? She'll be like patting your hand. You're like, oh.
Oh, they're so creepy. They're so creepy.
Little children
Terrell
hands.
the other night, oh my gosh, it was like 1 a.m. I'm getting up, I'm getting water. I like do this thing sometimes where I'll like check the thermostat, check the front door, like get up, just because they say if you've been awake for like a certain amount of time, just get up because you're not going back to sleep unless you do. So I do. I get my cup, I go into the laundry room, which is through our master bedroom. I'm getting my water. I'm also getting ice. So I'm a horrible roommate. Like the things I do to Terrell in the middle of the night, as far as like caring for myself and not for him, like I will do that. I'll be like, "Are you awake?" And he's like, "Absolutely not." Anyways,
I am now.
I'm awake. So okay. So I'm getting ice. I'm getting water. I like turn around and he's right there, and I do this like, just
who's
scream.
right there?
Terrell.
Oh,
he's standing in the doorway. Like dark shadow with his glass in his hand. And he's like, I wanted some water too. Will you fill me up some water? And I just manifest. I'm like, you could have murdered me. Like, and so I'm just very jumpy. So the whole, like, I don't need a TV show to like,
you don't need to add
do that to me. Yeah. and it's only with Terrell. Like, but the kids do creepy things too in the middle of the night. They'll be like, Mom. And, you wake up to like just like, why are you so creepy? Just like shake me. Yeah. I don't know much about this, but this
the White Lotus.
Yeah. I know his name is something White, the producer of that. White something. But I don't know anything about that. Is it scary?
Every episode or every season rather is kind of a mystery and resets, but they're all set in different resorts that are under this umbrella of the White Lotus.
Okay, so that's like a hotel chain.
So is it tied to Greek mythology at all?
The first season may have been.
Yeah, because I feel like there's vibes of that in the poster.
But it was definitely kind of a mystery.
Does it go sexual?
Occasionally.
It's HBO, of course it does.
Occasionally,
That's
but
true.
not as bad as like Game of Thrones or House of the Dragon or anything like that. But yeah, that's been our recent. They just came out with season 3. So we've been watching that. So the first one I believe was maybe Fiji. Don't quote me. This season is
It almost looks like Paul Walker.
in Thailand.
Does it not?
Theo James or James
Yeah,
Theo.
it's
He's
that
in that
guy.
The Gentleman show that Guy Ritchie did. Yeah, Theo James.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, Theo
It's
James,
like a
yeah.
Paul Walker reincarnate.
I mean, he was born before Paul
Before?
Walker
Oh, well, he's aging really well.
died in a car crash.
R.I.P.
R.I.P.
They got up there though. Fast and the Furious, like 7, 8,
Oh, they're 10.
10. Yeah.
I think it's 10.
The last one I saw in theaters was the one where they had to like dub him as like
It was 7.
what was it, AI? Or I don't even.
They digitally replaced him. And his brother played a lot of like the role, and I think they posted his face on there. Like,
Aw.
yeah.
Okay, Bible.
Okay.
I wanted to ask you about Tobit.
Okay.
Do you know about Tobit?
I know about Tobit.
Okay, because
where is Tobit in the Bible?
I love Tobit. Old Testament.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
It's in the 66 books?
Yeah.
No.
Well, no, it's not. But it is in
the Apocrypha.
The 1611 King James.
Yeah, so the 1611 has the Apocrypha, which has 14 books. So there's 80 total there.
So most people don't know about Tobit, but gosh, I love it. Have you read it?
Yeah.
Isn't it beautiful?
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing. I want more books of the Bible like that.
It's got a bit of voodoo in it. Like people, you read it and it's like, there's a lot of black magic type stuff.
Superstition? Are
Yeah.
you like
Well, no, like just like the magic, like the casting out of the spirits, and then like what was she married to 7 men?
She was.
And they all died on the wedding nights before
Mhm.
consummation.
Mhm.
So she was still a virgin.
Well, a demon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it's been a while, but didn't Tobit have to like go down to the river, catch a fish, take a fish bladder out or something?
Raphael, his like guardian angel, literally, is just telling him, hey, get a fish. He gets a fish. I can't remember if it's like bare hand situation. And then it was like gallbladder and eyeball or something.
Yeah.
And he was like, these will be useful later on. And then later on, it was like gallbladder, cleanse spirits, eyeball, I think, helped his dad recover sight. So is that superstition? I feel like that was just very like...
It's more like magic. It feels like magic.
Well, I think she was already like burning incense. It was like, use this incense to clean the room was how I took it. It was like, burn this gallbladder. Like, let's cleanse this sucker.
Yeah. But I mean, just from like a 30,000-foot view of reading it.
Is that why it didn't make it, maybe?
No. The Apocrypha was taken out before the Civil War in Europe and then after the Civil War in America. And the excuse was it's cheaper to print.
So it's such a shame.
And then at a certain point, they're like, okay, those books are apocryphal. But like they were in the canon forever. They were in
like Jesus.
They were in the King James Bible,
right?
The 1769 Blaney that like all over their modern King James are based on, where they corrected all the spellings and everything from the 1611. That still had the Apocrypha in it.
I had to read it from a Catholic Bible late at night one night because you gave us the 1611, and I feel like I can read Old English better than some, but it couldn't quite all the F's and the P's and
yeah. So if you're reading the 1611, the F's the S's are replaced with F's a lot of times. The V's and U's are swapped.
Yes.
And there's no J's, there's only I's.
There's no J's. Yeah. Is that Old English?
It's just the spelling convention of the time, because the J didn't get standardized until the mid 1600s.
Yeah.
It existed. I think the sound existed. My dad he'll say Jesus, not Jesus sometimes. Most times he'll still say Jesus, but I'm pretty sure the sound existed. Like they replaced the letter because they had the sound.
Yep.
But the using J's was not standardized until 1650 something.
He doesn't just jump straight to Yeshua.
Oh no, we're the very English. So like if it's what, like he won't change any of the words from the 1611. So he won't say Yeshua, Yahweh, because they're not in the
interesting.
The English.
Interesting.
But what did you think about Tobit? Like,
oh my gosh, it was such a spiritual awakening. I loved it. So it was the eve of my 35th birthday, and I woke up and I was just like, read something uncanonized, and I just truly felt like I heard the Spirit just kind of say that. And so I did some searching, and it was like Judith. I've known about like Bel the Dragon and the Maccabees and things like that. And I was like, I don't want to go like deep dive into history. Like I love stories. And so Tobit stood out to me, and I read it and I was like, this is gripping. Like it's a love story. It's like, it's just a journey we're going on, like a physical journey, and then it ties pretty in like a nice little bow at the end.
But you said you didn't like that about
I know
stories.
I did. I don't like that about movies.
Oh, but it's okay.
And Tobit, it ends. It's sad that it ends, because I'm like, gosh, just tell me more. There's so many more questions I have.
Judith tried. So if you want a warrior woman, Judith was like quite the...
Yes, I've read
quite the character.
Judith. I did not know she was a woman.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess that makes complete sense, being Judith.
Yeah, she like saved Israel, and
I just figured it was like she
cut a guy's head off.
Gosh.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll read that. I'll read it with a new lens on, because I just wasn't.
You've also got Second Esther. So Terrell's going through Esther right now. So I told him on Sunday, you should go grab that 1611 and read Second Esther, because it picks up at chapter 10, verse 4, and goes to chapter 16.
Yes.
It's not actually like, Esther 2:1. It's Esther 2, 10:4 is where it starts.
Finishing the story.
Yeah.
I would appreciate that. I read it, and it's been a long time, but it didn't feel like it was any new information.
It's been a while since I read it too.
Yeah, it just felt like a repeating of
Hmm.
the information that was already in Rester. Ben, have you read it? I don't know.
I have not.
I would love to know if it.
There's also Wisdom of Solomon in
Yes.
there, which is like Proverbs.
Yes.
There's
And then Bell and the
Ecclesiasticus.
Dragon is completely like, is that like Revelation?
That's a Daniel. No, that's a Daniel.
Oh, okay.
So that's like they got Daniel in the lion's den, and I think it's Daniel. Yeah, Daniel. There's some dragon that they're worshiping in Babylon,
Yes.
and it's a statue, and Daniel's like, the thing's not real.
Right.
And so, because what the priests to the dragon were doing was they would, you bring all your sacrificial food, you'd put it in the area, and then you leave, and then the next morning all the food would be gone. And they were saying the dragon was eating it.
Mm-hmm.
So Daniel proved, I think it's Daniel, but the main character proved that all those priests were actually going in there at night with their families, taking all that food and eating it themselves.
Those dirty dogs.
Yeah. So then they killed them all.
Yeah.
Bible's violent.
It's very violent.
It's very violent.
It's very violent. And then 1st, 2nd, 3rd Maccabees are very like historical.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the Maccabees.
Mm-hmm.
Leading up.
Maccabean rebellion. I
Yeah.
don't even know if that's. I'm not going to go in that.
Maccabean, I believe.
Maccabean
rebellion. Yeah, there's some
We should
hardcore
see
stuff
if
in there.
we should see if he'll finish up, do a 3rd week of Esther from
We'll see.
Esther 2.
Maybe I influenced him. But if it's just a rehash.
Did you already tell him this?
Yeah, I told him on
Yeah.
Sunday.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember if it's a rehash. I feel like it was, but
Also, 1st and 2nd Esdras are pretty wild because that's Esdras is Ezra. So there are
and
two
I
other
love
books.
Ezra and Nehemiah.
Yeah. So it's 2 other books from Ezra.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Well, I love that. I don't know if that one was in my Catholic Bible.
I think Catholics. I think it has 8 or 10.
Right.
Whereas the 1611, the King James
Has
had
more?
14.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
Um.
You still read from your 1611.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't use anything.
Yeah.
But I grew up reading King James, and the English
Mhm.
is the same. Like if you're the 1611 and the King James are the wording's exactly the same.
Yeah.
I am reading from Roman type, not like the black
Mm.
letter like it was originally printed in. That
Mhm.
takes some practice.
What's the one that you gave us?
That would be a large type Roman
Okay.
type.
It wasn't too difficult to like.
Yeah, it's a bigger Bible, but it's in Roman type. So what they did was they printed the 1611. You had the King James commissioned the book in 1603, I think. I forget the name of it. The Hampton Court Conference. Yeah, they commissioned the book I think it was 1603 or 1604.
Do your father proud.
Yeah, the Hampton Court Conference. And then they spent 7 years. Yeah, 7 years with 53 scholars
Mm-hmm.
piecing it out, putting it together. And then they put the Royal Crown stamp on it when they produced it in 1611. And then they made the same book. I don't remember how many years, because like you have your 1613, your 1617. They're all 1611s that are reprinted.
Variation, yeah.
And the 1611s are the most valuable of all the set.
Wow.
So yeah, like 50,
was there much changes from the like 1611, 1613?
No, they're exactly the same.
Okay.
Because they were printed by the Crown. It was the same thing.
Okay.
And then when you get to...
So why is the 1611 more valuable?
You mean as like theologically?
Yeah, you said it's more valuable.
That's not, I meant monetary, but I meant like monetary as in like if you a 1611 is worth a lot more than a 1617.
Okay.
Monetarily.
Yep.
But and then in 1769, a guy named Blaney, he took the Bible, or at least he published it in 1769, and he standardized all the spelling. So if you're reading a 1611, like you'll have the word "we" spelled 2 different ways in one verse. You'll have another word spelled 3 different ways in the verse. And like it seems very intentional. I don't think like the excuse is that they were just they ran out of letters or something, so they were just using different letters.
Oh gosh.
And like no, there's no way they were doing that. Not with like the whole weight of the English government behind producing this Bible.
Yep.
Were they just like randomly spelling stuff?
Yeah.
So I think there was intention behind the spelling. But Blaney, he took it and standardized it all. So that's what your modern King James Bible is based on, his text.
Okay.
And then in 1833, Oxford took the 1611 and they replicated it entirely, but in Roman type. So if you go prior to that, it's all black letter, which is the really blocky Gothic looking font that can be really hard to read. So in 1833, they put it in Roman type. Yep. And so like that book that we gave you is basically a facsimile of that version.
Okay.
So all of the spelling is exactly the same. All the lines, Dad calls them furniture lines because they were from I believe from the block with the printing process. You'd have those lines left over, and they just kept them in.
Yep.
From the typesetting. So everything is exactly the same.
Mm-hmm.
It's just in a different typeface
Okay.
font. Yeah.
Man.
So
I think people could benefit from the additional 16 books. 14 books. Yeah.
Where's the list? I think I know that my list. It's first and second address. You have wisdom. I don't know if I won't get them in order, but Wisdom of Solomon, Ecclesiasticus, Baruch, Susanna, Bell and the Dragon, Tobit, first and second Maccabees.
Third.
There's not 3 in there.
Oh.
Do the Apocrypha list? I wasn't keeping track of how many that was there.
And then you said, did you already say the Ezra ones?
Yeah, that's Esdras, first and second Esdras.
Is it Esdras or
it's
Edris?
Eadresas.
Why can't we say Ezra if it's...
Because Ezra, I believe Ezra was from the Hebrew and Esdras was from whatever language it was in. Greek. I don't know what the Apocrypha was translated from at the time. Because they've found later texts, I believe, in Hebrew. I could be wrong about that, but I believe they found later texts in Hebrew.
Yeah, maybe even that one. Oh, gosh.
So it's just a different language.
List.
What were the 14 books removed from the Bible?
Mm-hmm. It just wants you to click into it. Enoch.
Enoch's no. Those are other books.
Oh, right. You're right.
Enoch is this. How do you feel about Enoch?
Have you gotten into that? I have the book. I want to read it. I haven't yet. I got that like the Blurry Creatures one. Ben, did you get it?
I did.
Yeah. Have you read it?
That's probably my favorite version.
Really? You read different versions of Enoch?
Well, okay. So the reason I like the Blurry Creatures one is because Tim Alberino really has a way with connecting the New Testament with symbolism, and he writes the whole. If you look on the bottom of that version, all those notes down there on the Blurry Creatures version, just really ties into, just solidifying the prophecies of Jesus coming back, and Jesus as a whole. So that's probably my favorite version of it. Now, I don't know. That's about as far as I really get with regards to the Apocrypha at this current stage in my life, just because it's you just don't really know who to trust, and you could go down so many different rabbit holes, and
Well, where the Apocrypha fits historically is it's in between the Old Testament and the New Testament. Now you do have, the books from Ezra who would be at the end of the Old Testament, and you have a book from Solomon who'd be,
probably around the time
age,
that
but
he did. Yeah.
It's an in between chunk. Whereas Enoch's going all the way back to the beginning. I feel like Jasher doesn't get enough love either.
Yeah. Or what did you said Baruch or Barak?
Well, that's Baruch is in the Apocrypha.
Right. Oh, well, yeah.
How you on time?
Oh, great. What do we need to do?
Nothing.
Okay.
Just seeing how you are on time.
Oh, I'm great.
Don't
make me go home.
I love my children, but don't make me be with them.
There we go. Prayer of Manasseh, Jeremiah.
Yeah.
Susanna.
Yeah, Susanna's in there. That's a good little story.
Don't you have a sister name?
No.
Oh, okay.
Lydia. Also a Bible name.
What's under Enoch?
I don't know why the book of Enoch is listed in there, because it is not. Yeah, Esdras.
That is not in the 1611.
The prayer of Manasseh is pretty good. So Manasseh, the longest reigning king in Israel, who was a horrible person. He was
yes.
Hezekiah's son? Yeah, Hezekiah's son. Because Hezekiah got like the 15 extra years or whatever it was after he got sick, and he went to Isaiah, and Isaiah was like, look for the sign with the sun moving, and he got the extra time. Anyway, he got healed by God. He got the extra time, and then he had a horrible kid. Horrible son. Like worst king in Israel
A
was
lot of the
Manasseh.
kings were horrible and had horrible sons.
Hmm.
Like I'm doing a study right now on the kings and the priests, and oh gosh, it's just like
Yeah, we fall away so easily.
yes.
Mm.
Yeah, what is that they say? They did what is right in their own
Yeah,
eyes,
they
like
did.
over and over. Like this is the theme of the Old
Yeah,
Testament.
they did not follow after the ways of David, their
They
father.
did what is right in their own eyes.
So what's your take on why that happens?
Oh gosh, just the part of our flesh that
Yeah, but why does it disproportionately affect kings or people in power?
oh
Pastors too. Pastors
yeah.
tend to have kids who are off the rails.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, look at me.
I know
I'm a
you are
pastor's kid.
wild.
Yeah.
You are wild and unhinged. I don't know. Have you put any thought into that?
I think it's because they're not raising their kids.
Yep.
So it gets farmed out
Yep.
to nannies
Mm-hmm.
and, what's a name for a male nanny? What's a male nanny?
Manny.
No, that's not the term that they
Yes,
use.
it is. It's a nanny.
I don't think manny was used in the.
No, not in the Bible.
That's a new terminology.
Would that be a eunuch?
No. It could be. There's nothing precluding a eunuch from doing
Right.
that job.
Right.
Oftentimes
'Cause
that's why you did that, was so
Yeah.
that you'd have someone who wasn't,
Right.
although
Harming.
they still can and do,
Yes. Yeah.
but at least they're not going to father any children.
Nanny is not gender specific.
Mm.
They were nannies. Or it'd be
But
like
there is a term
what
for
is the nursing? That's a wet nurse.
A wet
That's
nurse.
not. We're not going.
That's when somebody else is breastfeeding
Yeah.
for you.
It's not a nanny. I don't know. Right. They're not.
In olden times, a manny is a male
I'm
nanny.
telling you. I'm telling you, it's a manny.
I'm not sure I would want a manny.
I don't know. I think it just depends on if you're boy dominant or girl dominant. Like I think my boys seeing a man
Sure
live life is way more effective.
And I guess what I'm angling, I think a lot of times, like a king, they would have their male sons raised by a trusted associate.
Yes.
But I still think there's a big importance to the father actually raising their children, and
right, and
being there for them.
A king, that's probably way down the
list. It gets more difficult. You got the people to serve, but that's why with pastors too, it's like you've got the congregation to serve.
Yep.
How do you guys balance that?
There had been seasons where it was very difficult and seeping into a lot of our, family time, and the bigger our family gets, the more demands on our family. But I think we probably didn't have the best of boundaries when Terrell was a first pastor starting out. We had a lot more capacity too. So there wasn't really a need for staunch boundaries because we could work late, or he could be called into meetings, and I'm going to go and hang out with some girlfriends, and it's just not really affecting, like we'll find time together for us. But you bring kids into the picture, and then you're in meetings late, or counseling, or getting phone calls. I will say that our congregation has just always been very, very respectful. The people that are close and not even close to us, there's just not a lot of phone calls of like fire, emergency, I need my pastor to come. And I don't know if we've got elders in place, and there's just we've got small groups, we've got a community of people that are safe people.
Prayer groups too.
Yes, exactly. We're probably not like the front, the call, which is, I think, beautiful. Like we've got a lot of people that are at bat with us. What was the question? Like, how do you
balance like the work-life balance, essentially, like raising children, and then also like the congregation? And
I think there's things I would like to do with Terrell more, that it's difficult. It's more like I play a supporting role. There's been seasons where we can do ministry together a lot easier, but then there's a lot of times where like, Yeah, I just play a supporting role, and I do that really well. I'm naturally an assistant, like, through and through. I don't wanna
Mm,
be the person leading anything. I really wanna be the helper.
mm.
Like, give me a task, let me help you, let me know that you're like, let me support you.
The hospitality person.
Yeah, they're really
Yeah.
it's just, like, in my veins. But, like, I think I would enjoy teaching if I could do it alongside him.
Mm.
But to do it alongside him pulls him out of some things. Um,
Back off that mic just a little.
so there's like and then there's just seasons. So I know that there's just seasons where
Yeah.
yeah, where that flow is just it's really not like a pinch. But then there's times where getting the kids to church, getting the kids to Wednesday night, being more, having to the more I'm involved, and then he's obviously very involved, requires our kids to come up early and just be kids, and then, they're getting into stuff and we're taken out of our duties, but
Mm,
it's a community. Our kids get there early and then Ben's wife has to has to deal with them and wrangle them
mm.
and Ben too, and yeah.
You know the phrase, like, it takes a village to
Yes.
raise children?
Yes.
Like, originally, like, I'm like, "I don't like this concept," because it's like, you should be raising your kids, and it's not about the
Mhm.
kids don't need a village to raise them. And now at this
Mhm.
point, I'm like, "Oh, no, it's the parents who need the village." The
Yes.
parents need the support and the network and, like, to be able to, like, go
Mhm.
off and play with that family or play with this family or your kids
Mhm.
come over here and
Which is like your kids need a village too. Like I feel like especially if your kids are being homeschooled,
yeah,
like
they need the socialization for sure, yeah.
yes, yes.
But you realize that, like, it's work. It's like it's a lot of
Mhm.
workload, especially the more you get and then the more, um, individualistic each one of them are. They have their own needs and
Yes.
tendencies.
Yes. So early on in the trenches of like I guess that's a term you throw around. It wasn't hard, but I would love going over to like girlfriends' houses and raising my kids together. And I remember like dinners have always been daunting for me. I'm not a cook. I can follow instructions, but to follow instructions requires attention and the kids need that attention. So I remember I
Mm,
have a girlfriend that I would just go over to her house and bring my kids and she's focusing on dinner and I'm, hanging out with the kids and like or just talking with her and the kids are distracted playing and those were like some of the best times and helped me through like I could not have done parenting in isolation. I
mm.
just couldn't. And I had an open door policy and I'm
Well,
thankful my
we
girlfriends did
saw what
too.
happened during COVID too. Yeah.
Exactly, exactly, and so I don't know that that is how people do things now. There's a lot of girlfriends I have that are raising young kids or having young kids, and I don't know if they seek that out. I don't know if they need to seek that out. It might be a personality thing, but I loved raising my kids in that village
Yeah.
concept and
Well, humans are exceedingly social. And so I
mhm.
think most people, like, if they are ignoring that social need, they're probably ignoring something that they need,
Yeah.
you know? Some people work well alone, but children don't.
Yes.
Children have to be interacting with the broader community
Mhm.
and learning the hierarchy and the pecking order in a
Yeah.
positive way.
Right. That was so yeah, those life lessons were so helpful.
Because, I mean, society is built by a group of people interacting together. And
Mhm.
if you don't know how to interact with other people,
Yeah.
then I think things start to fall apart.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
this is where communes are nice. I mean,
Yeah.
and they're bad, but because there's always a dictator,
Mhm.
always a dictator. But there's a certain longing to, like, it would be nice if we
Oh,
all lived
absolutely.
on one giant property next to each other
Yeah.
and there was a kitchen and we all went over there and ate at the kitchen
We're going
and then we
compound
went to our
model.
jobs
Right.
and yeah, we just all live you guys kind of are going
Yeah, and I
compound model.
wanna learn from, if you can garden really well, like, I want to learn that, and I love sewing and quilting, and I wanna be able to teach
Mm,
that to, my daughter and whoever, and, I love helping and cooking, I love being around food, I love the craft of cooking, and, so the more recipes I can and that's also why I love hanging out with your wife, because she is like a foodie, and I think she enjoys bringing people alongside in that. And I mean, she can like and she can, I mean, just pull meals together and does things typically more homemade. Like her ranch.
Oh,
Oh,
it's phenomenal.
it's
I
just
cannot eat any kind of other ranch anymore. It's
no.
so good.
And I would want that ranch on everything.
There is a
Like,
secret ingredient.
did she give me the secret ingredient when she gave me the recipe?
Probably, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's citric acid.
Oh, okay. Oh,
That's
I don't have that around my house. I
you
mean,
buy you get a jar of it, but
can you not just use
it's
lemon?
not the same.
Oh, okay.
Because the lemon imparts other characteristics and like causes it to
Oh.
curdle a little
Yeah, I
more.
need to get
No,
some.
when you're making ranch, like whether it's healthy or not, I don't think a little citric acid is going to hurt you. But like that's the secret to the tang.
Oh my gosh. I love
Yeah.
it.
And most your recipes
She might
for
have left that
homemade
off my
ranch,
recipe. I don't remember seeing citric acid on there.
she should have put it on there. That's like the most important ingredient.
Katie. My
Mm.
gosh.
But
Yeah.
how we doing over there?
Camera 2 just went out.
Oh no.
Did I get stopped recording or is it off?
Oh Lord.
Oh, it's still on. I don't know that. It's still on now.
I guess it's time to quit.
That's a good ending.
Did it overheat? No, we didn't quite end it.
There it is.
Make sure the people know who I am.
Sorry about
Just
Bob.
kidding.
Okay. That worked. All right, that was weird. All right, did we cover everything? What else do we want to hit?
We did.
Any other topics you want to hit?
Oh gosh.
Hmm.
I don't know. Oh, yes. I'm going to be interviewer now for a second.
Okay.
Why is it called Christians Talking About Shit? Have you gone over this yet?
Have we been?
Not in too much detail.
So,
Maybe not on camera.
yeah. I was listening to Joe Rogan, and normally I don't listen to him when he is talking to comedians. Like normally I'll listen when he has an expert on or something. Comedians,
Same.
they get way too crass and
Yes,
a lot
same.
of language, and I'm like, I'm not interested in this.
Mhm.
But it rolled over from one episode into the next, and it was one of those protect our parks things where he has.
I've not listened to those episodes.
Those are more. It's a better group dynamic. But
Okay.
it's I think Shane Gillis, Ari Shafir, and Mark
Oh.
Norman.
Yep.
Yeah,
It's always them.
it's always those.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
Okay.
and Mark Norman's a bit cleaner.
I thought
in
it
his
was just
language.
about parks.
No, I
And
think
that did not appeal to me.
I know. That's what I thought it was at first too. It was like,
Yeah.
oh, this is just they're talking about land management.
Okay, cool.
But no, it's just the three comedians sitting around talking, and they were talking about
that's
something, and I'm like, a thought occurred to me. I'm like, this would be really good if this was Christians just talking about the exact same subject matter,
Yeah.
but just with like having Christian mindsets or whatever. And I'm like, it should be called Christians Talking About Shit.
Yes.
And that's just kind of like, boom,
Boom.
boom. It was like that was it.
Yeah. And then you also kind of struggled a little bit with like, is iconoclast the right word of just like, will Christians accept shit? Will my demographic?
I was never worried about
You
that.
weren't?
I was no, because I've gotten a little bit of pushback from a few people saying, maybe you should change the name.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you'll be driving people away. And I'm like, that's the name. The marketing's in the name.
Mm-hmm.
And every single person, at least at our church anyway, that I have told the name to,
Yeah.
their first response is to laugh and say, I would listen to that.
Yes.
Now, whether they're all listening, I don't know. But,
right.
yeah.
I think where you will get some pushback is like the merch potentially.
Yeah. Well, I thought, we've gone through the process of like, what's
we
merch,
need the mugs.
what's merch going to be like?
Yeah.
But will people wear it?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's a walking billboard.
Yeah.
If
I
I
don't
give,
know if I could wear it in church.
If I give Terrell a shirt, will he wear it? I don't know.
I don't know. Well, one, he won't because he's not a t-shirt guy. But two,
I'll get him a button up. We'll get a button up.
Yeah, button up. I don't know. And then like, do you have your kids asking you about shit?
No.
Do they see it? And are they like I don't know. I don't know if I could have
We have
like
it censored everywhere. So it does.
Right.
It is an asterisk where the eye
right.
goes.
I mean, but my oldest would be like, Hmm. So I don't know. I'm like, it's like I fall in that demographic, and then I don't want to be in that demographic. But
The other day,
it's a rub.
my oldest, he was like, he said, "What the frick" or something
Yeah.
while he was
Oh,
playing a video
yes.
game,
Yes.
and I'm like, Culver. We're not saying his names. I'm like, son,
Yeah.
I would rather you say the real word. And
Okay. He
he looked at
probably
me
got
like
that from my son.
he probably did. He looked at
Yes.
me like, really? You'd rather me saying the real word? And I'm like, well, no, I don't want
He's
you to say
baiting
the
you.
real word.
He's
But like,
baiting
I kind of have a pet peeve when it comes to replacement curse words, profanity. I don't like calling them swear words or curse words because that's technically not what they are.
Yep.
Maybe if you're saying damn you, you're saying a
Mhm.
curse.
Okay.
But shit is just a profane word
Yep.
that we don't like in our society.
Yep.
And with you just replace it with shoot, you're saying the same thing. Your intention and your heart are the same.
Yep.
If you say frick rather than the actual F word, your heart is the same.
Yeah.
So like I don't like the replacement theology. I don't like replacement theology, even though that's a different thing. But
Mhm.
when it comes to curse words, and also my biblical take is that there's nothing wrong with profanity. I
Yeah.
don't know what's your biblical take on profanity?
Gosh.
Which we found out was also a profanity.
What's that?
Gosh.
Gosh. Well, yeah, gosh is God.
Oh, Lord.
Lord. Oh, Lord.
Oh,
Technically.
Lord.
Although, people like taking God's name in vain.
Yeah.
Those are titles.
Did y'all
God
see
and Lord
that
are titles.
viral? I don't know if it was viral, but a clip on the internet where this girl was talking about how he was like, I cuss, and she was like, well, um let me just challenge you, because there's that time where Jesus is like, oh, what is it? Not angry and do not sin, but I'm gonna screw it up.
Be angry and sin not. That's Paul, isn't it?
Or oh shoot, I lost it. I'll have to come back. But I think I definitely have a curse streak of just I don't get sad. I don't get like frustrated. I get like angry. And so cussing will come out
Mm.
and
Do you know that if you're
be
cussing, that you can withstand more pain?
I have a very high pain tolerance. I believe that
Yeah. But
actually.
they've actually done like a study, like if you dunk your hand in a bucket of ice water,
Yeah, I
you
like cold
can
baths.
stay in you like cold baths, but you can keep your hand in the ice water longer if you're swearing
That's
than if you're not.
hilarious.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just something very relieving about immediately like a stub the toe situation, like,
I think there's an endorphin release.
yeah.
Yeah.
And there's not meaning behind it that I know of.
No,
It's
it's
just
just an exasperation or
yep,
yeah,
yep. I'm gonna
it's a
be as
release.
dramatic as possible.
Um my take on swearing though is the Bible, like it says things like don't be a stumbling block. So
Yeah.
if somebody is offended by
Think of it.
by cussing, you shouldn't be swearing around them because like you're creating
Right.
some kind of stumbling
Right.
block for them. And then there's the other verses, every idle word will be accounted for
Mhm.
type of concept.
Mhm.
But that applies to it, like idle just means useless.
Mhm.
So like we say a lot of useless words.
Yes.
And if they're not meaningful or account to anything, then um they're they're going to be, I guess, used against us in that court system in the sky, whatever that
And like
looks like.
I mean, it just feels very American to say that the F word is a cuss word. Like
Well,
we
it's very Protestant.
deemed it that.
It comes like it's like the religion. I don't know when it would start, but certainly the very prudishness of the 1800s, 1600s, 1700s, particularly with like the Pilgrims and the hardcore, I think, pacifists. I'm going off the
Mhm.
rails here with my technical correctness, but there was this strong prudishness from Christianity that I don't think is in the Bible, like
Mhm.
wearing skirts down to your ankles
Mhm.
and women not wearing pants
And
and all
head
these kind of things, head
coverings,
coverings,
and
where like
yes.
you're creating this hedge again around
Yep.
the law so that we don't sin.
Yep.
And somewhere along the way, like profanity became lumped in there. Um, and yeah, I think the important thing is how you use your words.
Yeah.
What you mean by the words are tools.
Completely agree.
They're inanimate objects. And
Right.
the only thing that they do is they convey meaning, and it's what the person saying the word means, and it's how the person receiving the word, how they also interpret that word
Mhm.
is important. Because like I might say a word to you, and it means something completely different to you
Well,
than it
and
does
your
to
son
me.
said frick, and you said, "I'd rather you say"
F-U-C-K.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, I would.
Yep.
Frick really annoys me. That's one that definitely annoys me.
It's just I don't know if it's been YouTubers or what,
It is,
but
yeah.
it's not even just my
Was
oldest and your oldest. It's like this
Oh,
age
yeah.
demographic.
Yeah.
And
Wasn't
maybe
it
it's just like I want to get up very close to the line,
was it
but
Stargate or something where they were saying frack?
Battlestar Galactica.
Battlestar Galactica. Yeah, like you were saying it constantly
Oh
throughout the
my
series, and
gosh.
yeah. But your meaning was the same.
Oh my gosh.
But I don't think that
I don't want my kids saying it.
but it's a polite society thing. But I guess the
Yeah.
interpretation we've always had is that swear words are like sharp knives.
Mhm.
You only get to use them when you know how to use them
Yes.
and when you're old enough.
Yes.
But they can be a useful tool. But also like if all you do is walk around saying the
Mhm.
F word all day, like you're
Right.
not conveying a lot of good meaning to the people around you.
Right. Right.
And it's generally doesn't have a place for polite society. But I don't think it's a sin.
Mhm.
I don't think it's
I would agree.
yeah.
I don't think that either. I think it can be like I use it as like an emphasis,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. So as far as the title in the podcast,
Mhm.
it's like I think we're kind of weeding out a certain demographic who wouldn't be into this show. So like if this
You're
is kind of
right. Yeah.
like, Christian Joe Rogan, lack of a
Mhm.
better way of putting it, um then our demographic is not the ultra prudish Christian who won't say a
Yes.
swear word.
Yes. You're right.
So
You're right.
not that we don't want them to listen. We'll
Right.
take all our listeners.
Yep. You got to get some of them on the podcast then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the ultra prudish.
Mhm.
Yeah, no, I'm game. Really, the only parameters is that you be a Christian, or we're talking about Christianity.
Will you ever have your mom on the podcast?
Sure, I did think about the other day, like, maybe I should have
She's
mom on.
fascinating. Yep.
That might be interesting.
Not that she's in the
I don't know
ultra
if she'll do it.
prudish category, but
Oh, she kind of is.
there's no way.
I think it's more generational than
It's
prudish.
definitely
Yes.
generational.
Okay. Right.
She didn't like the name of the podcast when I first told
Well,
her.
yes, my mom wouldn't either.
Yeah.
Yeah. And my mom and Miss Judy are very
But
similar in some ways. But
she's definitely like very rigid from the 50s, kind of.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yep. And in some ways I feel like I am too.
from the 50s.
Like just rigid in some things.
Mm.
Yeah.
How so?
Like I don't mind cussing myself, but I don't know if I want my kids doing it. I don't want my kids doing it. I mean,
At what age though? Your kids are
I don't know.
how
I
old?
don't
Your
want-
oldest 12?
11.
11.
Mhm.
Yeah. So
Right.
that's not really a place to be walking around swearing like a sailor.
And I just think that they're like I think that you can be respectable with like clothing. I going into church, I'm like, gosh, I do your mom and I have had this conversation before, like some women need to cover up a little bit more.
Mm.
I don't know how sometimes the kids going in and out of youth are like that is acceptable.
I think that, yeah, the idea of your Sunday best. When you
Mhm.
come to church, like we're not swearing in the sanctuary. We're not, and we
Mhm.
don't really cuss regularly. Like, have you ever
No.
heard me really cuss?
No.
No.
Right.
It's just not, it's not in our vernacular.
No.
Like it exists there. Maybe if we're on a construction site, we swear a little more.
Yeah.
I don't know about Ben over there. He might be like, but yeah, when you come to church, it's like, I kind of do wish I dressed up a
I'm
little
a
more
little
than I
old
do.
school.
Like I've been wearing my tennis
Yeah.
shoes to church recently and just jeans and a t-shirt because it's like I'm on the camera crew, so it's kind of, although I'm not really, I kind of farmed out all the cutting, so I kind of show up and just like
You're the boss.
do this, do that. Well, maybe sort of. I don't know. They're all volunteers. We're all volunteering. Sort of. Yeah.
Yeah.
But sometimes we get voluntold. But not
Yes,
really.
we
We're
do.
pretty, like you said, it's pretty, boundaries are pretty good at the church.
Yeah. I think
People
there's
don't-
enough people that want to take on and do
Yeah.
take on a lot of the responsibility, which is to me that's so healthy.
We could use more.
We could always use more shout out.
Volunteering.
Yeah, shout
yes,
out
you could always
kids
use more
ministry.
volunteering. Like, the load does.
But I
get
think I'm
on
old
some
school in
people's
some
shoulders a little too
things.
much.
Like I just and I mean, I grew up in a household where like we weren't I wasn't watching a lot of like horror thing, and my kids aren't.
Yeah.
And yeah, I want my kids to have a job at a young age, get work experience. I don't know. So
But when you say rigid, I mean, I think like you just want them to grow up well with like and become good,
yeah, but I
respectable
also
members of
think some of
society.
like the old ways of life are like the good old days.
Yeah,
And those
because
values, instilling them and
well, they existed for a reason.
mhm.
You know, when there's a fence in the woods, like one analogy that's given the difference between someone who's like conservative versus someone who's liberal or someone left versus right, whatever, is that a conservative person, when they find a fence in the woods, they say, well, why is this fence here? I should figure out why this fence is here before I tear it down. It might be here for a reason.
Mhm.
And someone who's more liberally minded says, oh no, we should, I found a fence in the wood. It's in my way. I need to
Mhm.
just tear it down and get it out of the way and chunk it.
Yeah.
But that fence might be there for a reason.
Be there for a reason.
Now,
I
there are
tend
bad
to
fences
Yes.
that should be torn down.
Yes.
You
Yeah.
know, but
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm gonna be in that camp more. Why is this here? This is here probably for a reason.
Mhm.
Let's respect it.
Yeah. But there might not be a reason. Like it's
There
just
might
good to
not be.
dig in and find out
Right.
what the actual reason
Truly.
and understand why it's there
Yep.
rather than just blindly ignoring tradition as well.
Yeah.
Because that's never gone poorly
Yeah.
in human history.
Right.
Yeah. But no, I think that when you go to church on a Sunday, there's a certain respect. Like we brought up the hat thing. I don't like wearing hats in the sanctuary. I think you should take your hat off when you get in the sanctuary.
Yeah, there's a guy code that I don't know. Like the whole when to wear a hat, when to take off a hat, like when
In the
you're
presence of
introducing, yeah, in
ladies.
the presence of a lady, when you're being introduced to someone. Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. I don't love a hat in the
Like you see
sanctuary.
Bruce always takes his hat off when he
I
goes into the sanctuary.
know.
Yeah.
Gosh, I love
Like
Bruce.
good old
Do as
Bruce.
Bruce does. Do as Bruce does.
Grow
Yeah.
some garlic.
Yes. Yeah.
So what do you think the importance of church is then?
There's a huge aspect of it, the community part that just kept me sane. Um, there's so much of the body of Christ outside of the church that does so much good and is so beneficial. And I think once the church is outward seeking, you just start to see the community getting closer, doing better, having needs met. There's I think there's a Sunday morning can be very like educational. You're coming here, you're listening to a word. Um, I guess that's Western church where it's like we're going to break down these scriptures and we're going to go through this because I don't know how many people are really familiar with their Bible and how many people are really familiar. Like sometimes it seems like to really know and understand God's word, there is a sense of like theological like seminary that's helpful.
Going to college. You
Yeah.
have to go to college to be a pastor.
Like my favorite thing is when Terrell can kind of set the setting of the book that we're about to read, and there's just little things going on, like nuanced things that are going on in the culture that I'm not picking up on that. I'm not a world traveler. I did not know what was going on back in the day. And so,
Yeah.
and then I think, gosh, there's so much healing and prayer and to worship him. And I think worshiping him corporately for me, there's always so much more, it's so much more beneficial. Like the Judies and the youth and the men and than it is in my car, like just worshiping the Lord. There's words that I'll get, words of just like knowledge. Yeah. So I like what's not beneficial about the church body.
Well, I mean, you look where the church is standing is in society right now,
Yeah.
where it's, I think in a lot of ways looked down upon,
Mm-hmm.
and the woo-woo religion over there that we need to get rid of because it's just holding us back from prosperity, I guess. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I thought there was a study that was saying more people are coming to church now. You don't
No,
ever
no,
really
no.
know.
The younger generation is more church oriented than I think. So I think like Gen Z
Right.
has a higher church attendance than Gen X did at the same age.
Yep. And you always go into like how does the study know? But um
Yeah, sure. Um, yeah.
yeah.
What's your mindset during worship? What's going on? What's going through your head?
Ooh, gosh, I'll like picture Jesus. He'll be telling me some things. Depending on I'm lyrical, like following like the meaning of the lyrics. And so I just tend to picture that, if we talk about like the robe or the incense or whatever, I just imagine that and kind of expound on that in my mind of like, I want more of that. I want more of that presence here. And then sometimes I'll get distracted and just be like, oh gosh, like, do you want me to go over there and pray for that person? It can become sometimes intercessory. Um, or it's a focus on me, like bow, this is mine and your time, or he's wiping something away from me. I'll come in there from like the stress of getting all of the kids ready, and sometimes it takes a while to get focused on him and him alone. And then when he does, there's a lot that I have to repent of just ways of rushing, ways of being before we got into his presence, that, repent, accept, receive. So there's just so much. It is different every time.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. For me, like it's generally an area where I don't connect with. Like
Yep.
I'm not really a big music person,
Yep.
and to be honest, like growing up, like worship or music was my least favorite part of church.
Mm-hmm.
And we also did a lot of hymns and stuff like that, so I'm also more used to hymns.
I love
I
hymns.
prefer
I grew up
hymns.
Methodist, so there's just some rich
Yeah,
meaning in
same. We
hymns.
grew up with just a lot of who was the really prolific hymn writer? There's a woman. What was her
Oh, I
name?
do not know.
I forget. She wrote like half the songs in the book, in the hymnal. But yeah, it's just like
Are
I
all hymnals the same?
no.
Do you think?
No.
Okay.
They
Okay.
have
We
different.
had like a
Yeah.
Methodist hymnal.
Yeah,
Look at
Fanny
her.
Crosby.
Fanny Crosby.
She wrote a lot of songs.
I need thee every hour. Look at that one. Yeah.
But I don't know. It's something I've been curious a lot about.
America the Beautiful.
Oh, really? How people connect in worship? Because like it's one reason I like being in the camera booth, because I'm like just can't standing back there watching
But
everybody.
now that you've kind of said everybody,
yeah, but it's still it's just one of those things where is something wrong with me, or am I just different? Do we worship
Absolutely
God?
not.
Do we worship God in
Like,
different ways?
Okay, so spoiler alert. I grew up Assemblies of God, or like I was by choice Assemblies of God, after I'd been Methodist for like all of my youth. And so receiving the gift of tongues and having the gift of tongues was like a huge thing in the Assemblies of God. So like I would pray for it, felt like I had that gift. Okay, got that gift, using that gift. That gift does not much for me. And I don't know if like that is like, if I can even say that as a Christian. But
Speaking in tongues
is not a way I engage in the Lord. Yes, I can do it. People say practice it, continue to do it, grow in it. Gosh, I would so much rather be laying hands on someone, practicing the gift of healing, or worshiping my God, or intercessory prayer, or gathering in community at my house than so that's for me is the gift of tongues. Like,
well, you know what Paul said about speaking in tongues,
right? It's not for the corporate body.
Well, he said, I'd rather you speak 10 words of prophecy than 10,000 words in tongues without an interpreter.
Yes. And like, great, cool. I can do it ish. Like I will always have just this like thing in my mind that's like, but it doesn't mean that I don't continue to practice it. I do. It comes up sporadically where he'll say to me, like, let's do this thing. A lot of times it does have to be his spurring me to do it, because it doesn't really do anything for me. And then he's like, it doesn't do anything for you. Like, let me remind you that the reason why you're doing this is not because of you. Like it does something for me. So Maybe think about that a little bit in worship of like, you know, it's for him. And what's he like? How's he wanting you to grow in that and challenge yourself and like put yourself out there in a different way? That's so interesting. Your mom is very like, has she always been so worshipful?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you think a part of the way that your mom worships turned you off to worship?
No.
Okay.
No. Like I'm the same way with all kinds of music. The only time I listen to music really is when I'm writing or I'm doing a task where I just want something in like essentially white noise in the background.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I mean, I do have my Spotify playlist. I do have like there's a lot of songs that I like, but like I will turn on a podcast way before I'll turn on music.
Mm-hmm.
What's your go-to?
Go-to
music?
Music? It's every genre. Like there's everything from rap to like AAA to there's some Taylor Swift in there. I'll be honest. And then there's a lot of alternative stuff. There's some oldies. There's some. It's across the board. It's
you just shocked me the other day with the Chaperone.
Oh God, reference. I kind of hated that.
And I was like,
so it was stuck in my head for like 10 days after I listened to that podcast, Amos.
Which part was stuck in your head?
The Pink Pony Club. The Pink Pony Club. I didn't know the meaning behind that one.
Someone corrected us and said, "Oh, it's not about strippers. It's about dancing. It's about dancing at a club where you're free and with everybody else." But like, I don't know what else you're doing.
That's a stripper.
Well, maybe she's not stripping, but she's at least in burlesque.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah. Oh my God.
So like you were unaware of the song until you heard us talk about it?
I knew the song. Okay. And then you put it back in my mind. I don't think...
if you listen to other of her music though, it's all very promiscuous. It's about, it's
so dark.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Terrell was mentioning like the Sasha Fierce behind Beyonce, like that alter ego.
I don't know.
They've all probably got
the alter ego. I don't know about that part. Like I think that like if you have a trouble on stage and you embrace a different part of yourself by like blocking off the side of you with anxiety, I don't know. Maybe it's channeling, maybe it's not. I don't know.
Yeah, or it might be like taught to them of like this is a way to get you to do this in front of millions of people is like this could be a coping mechanism, just like counseling is. I don't know. I'm not justifying it, but
yeah.
Gosh, I would not want that much spotlight on me. I have a friend who saw her at ACL, and she said it was, and she struggles with anxiety. She was right in the middle of, oh gosh, it was shown on like TikToks and Instagram, like thousands, hundreds of thousands of people came out to see Chapel Roan. And then they're all just like screaming, what's that? HOT song. And I just am like, oh God, do that many people like want that type of sex and like crave that? Like, I don't know, if you're singing it and you're in a group of people and like that's like feeding your energy. I don't know. I'm just like, what kind of like.
Well, the thing is, music is a rather religious experience. Mm-hmm. So whether you're doing it in a church, or you're doing it at a concert, at a mosh pit, you're tapping into the same human emotion, where you're just getting caught up in whatever that is.
So I think and I can be very sensitive to things, and so I think I just have to like if music starts to go there. Same with movies. It's just like. I'm not even going to like toe that line. I'm not going up against that line. I'm going to be.
See, with movies, I noticed the propaganda when they're like fitting something in.
So does
like
Terrell.
Making the dad dumb.
Yes, so does Terrell.
Kind of
he picks up on that a lot. And I'm like, oh my God, I was just totally just watching this for entertainment. Like I like to talk to him after we watch movies. I also like to talk to the Weigels about things like that because he can unpack a lot of Disney stuff. He is like, oh my gosh, the moms, the dads, the death behind, like the reason why. And that to me is so much more fascinating. He's also really good at like poetry and the deeper meaning, and I'm very face value. I like poetry because of like the cadence, not the.
That's how I am with music. So when it comes to listening to music, like I don't really listen to the words unless I stop and listen to them.
Yeah. Yeah, you brought that to light to me, and I was like, "Oh gosh."
Well, the reason the Chapel Roan thing
jamming out to her
came up for me was I heard it on the radio, and like I'm gonna go check out.
And then your daughter,
video.
right?
Well, that was later.
Oh.
But I'm like, I'll go check out the music video because that's what I'll do. I was like, let's see how they made this. And then at the beginning of the music video, she's teaching her grandparents the dance, the HOTTOGO
Uh-huh.
dance. And it's like, oh, isn't it so cute? These like old prudish people are learning
Yep.
this hot to go, get laid dance. And I'm like, something's up here. So that's when I started looking at the rest of her work, and I'm like, this is super promiscuous.
Yeah.
Now, music
You
has
also
always
know that
been,
she like really channels drag. Like that
Yeah.
side of her. Okay.
but I mean, music's always been highly promiscuous. Like if you go back to the
Yes.
60s
Oh, yes.
and 70s, there's still a lot
I've
of
been listening to a
garbage.
lot of like Cadence Clearwater, Tom Petty.
If you
like,
start listening to
yeah.
lyrics,
Mm-hmm.
you start like, can
Yeah.
I listen to this song
Yeah.
again?
I'm in the car with my kids, and I'm like, I mean, I grew up listening to it. My dad, so Queen and everything, and now I'm playing some of the stuff with my kids, and I'm like, oh, that's a gross like concept. Like, let's skip that one.
Yeah.
I find myself like skipping 5 in a row, but
Hmm.
they're not at the point where they're like picking up on all of the lyrics yet. But
Not yet.
it's in there for me. So
Yeah. And some things just aren't edifying.
mhm.
And do they need to be in our lives?
Right. Gotta cut it out.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
thanks.
Yes.
Yeah, no, it's been awesome.
Thank you, Amos. Thank you, Ben.
Yeah.
Nice.
We'll have to have you back.
Okay.
You can hold a good, what are we at? 2.5 hours?
Gosh, sorry.
Yeah.
I'm a
Yeah. You can hold
chit-chatter.
you can hold a 2.5 hour
Next
conversation.
time, Katie and Terrell.
Yeah, we have to work that into everybody's schedule.
Yes.
Maybe we need to get a group babysitter
And we will.
for all the kids.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So, all right.
Yeah. Thank you.
Have a good one.
Yes.
Hey, Lauren, what do you thoughts?
It was okay.
Okay.
It was a little tiring.
Right, we could do better.
2.5 hours.
Right. You probably got kids crying.
Yeah.
God forbid their father take care of them for a little while.
I've got pizza I'm missing out on at the house.
You said it. Yeah. What'd you think about being on the pod?
I thought I looked good, but I feel like Amos could have like played more of a supporting role.
Listen, I try.
Mm-hmm.
I really do. We probably talk 3 or 4 hours before every pod, and we're like, hey, we need a plan. We need to talk about something.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what?
Yeah, like I would say 10 out of 10. You're pulling things up really quick. You're
Thanks.
zooming in. I'm
I
able
appreciate
to
it.
like,
Yeah.
I feel supported by you.
Okay.
I just don't know that Amos was really there for me. And I just really felt like I was kind of guiding
So,
the podcast.
do you think it's too early to ask for a raise?
Absolutely not. Seeing the amount of work that goes on behind the
Right,
scenes that you do and how well you promote it.
I love it.
Yes.
Yeah. Well,
So-
we'll go ahead and cut this, send it to the boss, and
Yep.
see about that raise. But yeah, we can be found on YouTube. Go check us out. Give us a like, give us a comment, subscribe. Anywhere that podcasts are found, download. We're now on Spotify with video. Come on.
Woo woo.
Make sure you get over there. Give us 5 stars. I think they're on a star rating. But yeah, come check us out. Tell us what you like, what you don't like. Give us some feedback. And thank you guys to all the fans out there that are truly continually coming back every week for some quality content.
That's right.
So-
This is a livelihood. Come and support these guys
It
because
could-
they're doing great stuff
It
here.
very well could be a livelihood, and we love doing it, so we're going to keep on doing it.
Well, thanks for having me.
Hey, thank you. Bye.
You guys rolling without me? What's up, dude?
Amos sucks.
Come on, I'm getting in character. Stop.
Ben.